Hello, everyone, and welcome to Smashbox TV's podcast 393. And you know what? I haven't been on enough microphones this week, so we're back for more of the action, and I'm back in Milwaukee.
Crap ton of commentary, man.
Yes, the quantity was certainly
I'm not saying anything about the quality.
I think I just heard the Z word, but thanks.
You commentated the MPO lead card with Nate Perkins.
Yep.
You commentated the FPO lead card with Hannah Macbeth.
Yep.
Mostly. The last round.
Yeah, the couple of rounds, we fell off a little, or they fell off a little, but I was there.
And second card coverage.
For a couple rounds as well. Not entirely. We didn't have Chase. We had a second feature card the first day.
Yep.
And then we continued to get a lot of different footage. We've got, believe it or not, there's more memorial footage that will come out. I've got the last two rounds of MP40. And don't look at the results because it's a great battle. We're excited to put that together yet. And I think there might even be one or two other cards that got captured that may or may not see the light of day. So a ton of coverage was captured. Most of it's been put out, but yeah, it was insane for sure.
That's a lot of work. That's a lot of effort. Very little sleep.
Yes.
I would wake up in the morning and I'd be like, oh, great, there's FPO coverage out. This is great. I'll kind of put it on in the background while I do whatever and listen to it. And then I'd look at like your last social media post and it was like at 7 my time or whatever, maybe 6 my time. And I was like, wow, that is...
Yeah, it was super. So I want to get right to it before we welcome our first guest. It was an intense and insane weekend. There were a lot of great supporters and sponsors. We'll, of course, break down the entire Memorial Championship again after we have Steve in a minute. But the entire weekend wouldn't have been possible at all if it weren't for the crew, the largest crew I had ever brought to an event or involved with an event. Gary to the O was doing almost all of the editing. I'm going to say almost all of the editing. It was more than his fair share. He was the true hardest core workhorse, on the computers. He did one day of camera work and then got right into editing. And then the guys that were out there running around, it was Dylan and John, otherwise known as Pastry Dies. Yeah, not this one. No. Dylan and John were running around doing quite a bit for us. Ryan Pilcher, along with Dustin Skorpinski. And then we also had Spicy Boy. He was out there as well. It was... just absolutely insane, everything that was going down through the whole weekend. And there were a ton of opportunities that I know can still get improved upon. And there were also a ton of little victories for us. So it was incredible. I see Ryan out there on the board right now. So I'll get into more accolades and event results and all that stuff a little bit later. But thank you to everybody. And, of course, all the sponsors and supporters and advertisers, some that jumped up and got in on board with it. And so far, so good.
I did not sit on my behind. I helped out with this coverage.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
Terry had a slight audio issue at the final day and reached out to me. He's like, "Ugh, can you fix this?" And there was some humming or buzzing, and I had to pull it do a little audition magic and sent it back to him at the last minute as you were boarding your plane and uploading it. So
it was.
I'll take full credit.
Yeah, you should.
Yes,
you essentially were the reason the memorial coverage happened.
I'm usually the reaon the memorial happens.
Yes. I don't think that works that way, considering the nature of the event. But what we're gonna do. So again, we'll get into that. But for now, we've got some what should be exciting. Maybe it's exclusive, maybe it's not. But for all of those that want to play trivia, going back all the way to November of, I say, 2014, our first ever guest, ever, of all time, and this will be on a quiz later, was none other than tonight's guest. And we welcome him back yet again, and we love him. It's Steve Dodge. Hi, Steven.
Hello there, Terry and Johnny.
Hi, Steve. Welcome back to the show.
It is great to see you guys.
You're probably maybe number 2 on the list of most guests. Most appearances, maybe behind Macbeth.
Maybe.
That's good company.
I would say so. Yeah.
I mean, we reached out to him tonight too,
I-
but he forgot his laptop. So I was ready to bump you just like that.
I was going to say it's good company for me. I don't know about good company for him.
Paul's rethinking things. Okay, so welcome. It's been a little while, so let's get caught up. And I'm not even going to give you a chance to answer. We're going right to it. Since you were last here, you've been married. You got married. Congratulations.
I did get married. Thank you very much. Jesse Lynn Dodge and I we just finished our TV show and jumped into this call. And not only did we get married, but we're in the process of renovating the house at Maple Hill. And in about a month and a half, we will move into Maple Hill, and that'll be our permanent home.
What
And
kind
I
of
should say
renovations?
the house next to Maple Hill. We bought 3 acres off the farm. We are renovating the kitchen. We're putting a floor in our living room, so we have an extra room above it, which will become our bedroom. New master bath. It's a full house renovation.
I can't wait to see it sometime.
Well,
Yeah.
that sounds like some pretty significant changes, of course, personally.
That's the
And-
exclusive news he has. He's
Yes,
renovating.
yes.
Good night, guys. Have a good night.
He's got the updates. If
Peace
you were to, so you just said right off of the farm, like, so what's the closest basket to you? If you had to play to a basket, which one's going to be closest to where your residence is?
I think am I starting in my kitchen?
Sure. Yeah. That's
Okay. I would do probably a par 3 down into the basement.
no. What's the closest basket on Maple Hills property to you? Are you?
Oh,
I was doing that.
it would be. I guess that would be hole 18 and 17 red might be closer.
Okay. So
Boy, isn't that interesting?
I mean, yeah, I think of home courses. I think of the property, the iconic property. And real quick, before we get even more sidetracked, we'll sidetrack. Maple Hill, again, more accolades, of course, in 2021. Talk to us about UDisc and or any other accolades that come with regard to the course and the rankings in which Maple Hill sits at.
So you guys have been to Maple Hill many times. The land is magical. It's a family farm. It has hills. It has ponds. It has fields. It has woods. It has weather. And actually, I think at last year's event we actually had one day of rain, one day of sun, and one day of wind, and that's just how it goes at Maple Hill. But yeah, we're very lucky to be able to be considered a premier course. UDisc has their rankings. We came out on top. I'm going to guess that the top 10 courses are all basically a tie. And we're very lucky to be the number 1 course. Well, especially when I look at how great some of these other courses, like Eagles Landing, comes on, and you're just like, whoa, what an amazing destination they've put together. I'm really excited to travel with my new wife to Europe and see all these amazing courses that are over there. I have to give a shout out to Jesse. There's a par 2 that we play down in Virginia sometimes when we go see the girls. And the last time we were there, we're playing hole 4. It's about 180 foot. They're all par 2, so it's like 180 foot, little downhill. And she goes like a foot to the right of the basket, and she's doing the bowling lean, and she's like and it doesn't quite go in. And then hole 5, she steps up and aces it. It was like, wow, what
Wow.
It was, yes, it was phenomenal.
Where does she go get lessons from? Like
right here.
Okay. That wouldn't have been I thought maybe Stokely was in town. I don't know. Okay, so
he's not old enough.
So officially bit by the bug of playing disc golf, consuming it, and we'll see how much of her life it takes over.
We have, I will say flat out, we have a lot of fun watching live disc golf every other weekend.
All right. So speaking of watching and the courses and everything else, was it a week ago, 6 days ago? There was a big announcement with regard to the MVP Open. I like how that you have to think about that for a moment, which means you must have other really big news, right?
You know what I like that I don't have to think about? the name.
Yeah, exactly.
I haven't messed up the
Yes.
name in like at least 2 years.
It's so nice not having that bucket anymore.
Yeah, you just wait for one company to go out of business or no longer produce things, and then it makes it so much easier. So even though I think they're coming back, we'll get into that later. So tell everyone, break down the news in case somehow they missed this this fabulous video that hit the internet last week.
So first of all, I got to give a shout out. MVP flew me up to Marlette, and Steve, myself, and the James and very talented video crew up there at MVP, put together that little video. They had me come in, and we were basically there all day, doing all sorts of filming. We did a nice tour of the factory, and I've never toured a factory outside of Vibram before, and I was blown away. The expansion that they've done in the last 18 months and the expansion they have planned for the next 12 to 18 months. I assume this is happening at most manufacturers now, but this sport is taking off, and there's a lot of very talented people who are making a living doing the sport that we love, just like we always hoped people would. So, yeah, we have a 10-year deal with MVP. To be there of the MVP Open. The total over the 10 years, the total deal is going to be worth, I'll go ahead and say over $2 million. The first year, we're probably looking close around 100,000 plus or minus a little bit. And then over the next 5 years, it'll increase gradually to be about a third of that $2 million total. And then the second half will be 2/3 of that $2 million total. Although at 5 years, we're going to be doing a review based on the growth of the sport, and we'll figure out. Well, everybody needs to be happy. I need to be happy knowing that I'm supported, and MVP needs to be happy knowing that they're getting bang for their buck. So both of us need to be happy. After 5 years, we'll do a review, and it could go up quite a bit. It could stay the same. I don't anticipate it would go down at all.
Which is, you already, jumped to one of the first questions or statements a lot of people said is, well, who is that a good deal for? I mean, obviously, on the onset, it sounds great, and it is great. But then some people are like, well, wait, well, we don't know. 10 years is a long time. So that could be a steal for Steve. That could be a steal for MVP, depending on, exactly as you mentioned, the growth of the sport. So that's, again, you already jumped into the first answer, which is after 5 years, you guys are going to do a deeper dive and make sure that, if any adjustments need to be made, they can be.
Yeah, basically, it's a non-compete review.
Okay. Does it matter to either the disc golf world or to you? Well, I know it matters to you, but does it matter to the disc golf world when we talk about that type of number, as in if that's support with discs and merchandise, if that's stuff that's related to a pro shop, or if that's like, no, they're literally just writing me a check for a set amount every year? I mean, does that matter to the rest of the disc golf community to ask those details?
You'd have to ask your board that.
Oh,
ask your listeners if they care how the money comes about.
We have listeners?
A few of them.
Hold on, let me look.
Every Tuesday
what are
night.
they doing here? This is weird. I thought it was just us.
Wait, I thought it was Wednesday night.
yeah, you certainly did. Okay, well, we'll skip the board, and I'll just ask you then: is that a check? Is that just here's cash, or is part of that support? Hey, we're going to give you $50,000 in frisbees, which we expect you to turn into $100,000 of profit. That would be my question.
There's I guess there's two models. There's the Ledgestone model, which is give me a lot of really cool discs and I'll sell them and make a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the cut us a check. I will let you know we're basically doing a hybrid. And actually, it's really close to about half of the money is coming in the form of a check, and half the money is coming in the form of product. And so I support I would encourage everybody to go out there. There's going to be some really special MVP Open discs coming out, just like the last few years, which is part of the reason I love MVP. And again, we'll be doing that again. And I think they said there will be 3 unique discs coming out for the MVP Open, and I'm not going to say what they are. I'm going to let MVP do all that announcing, and I'll tag along and encourage everybody to buy them when they're announced.
I want a throwback stamp with the old Steve Dodge Disc Golf Pro Tour logo with the glasses and the little wisp. Give me one of those throwbacks.
Good call. I ask that question because it falls right in line with when we see a big contract announcement for a player, and people talk about what is that and what are they getting, where is that money coming from? You know, is that royalties? Is that guaranteed? Is that based on sales? So it's kind of in that same vein that someone says to you, yeah, $2 million sounds like a lot of money. And then somebody else, I saw someone else reply, yeah, that's probably, X amount of discs that they're just giving them, which I knew wouldn't be the case, that bluntly, but that's why I was curious as to, what that relationship looked like. So you say it's a hybrid. That makes sense. I like it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And working, it's interesting. I was on the Nick and Matt show yesterday, and I feel like they asked the question, like, how is it working with MVP, and how long did it take to make this happen? And it really took about a week. I had another suitor who wanted to sponsor the tournament, and I told Steve I was interested in listening to their offer, Steve of MVP, and I said, if you guys match their offer, I'll stay with MVP, but I want to give them an opportunity. Gave them an opportunity, and Steve said, we don't want to match that, we want to beat that. And that's exactly how working with MVP is. They are upfront and honest and straightforward, and there's never really any questions as to what anybody's if anybody has any kind of a hidden agenda. So.
I was just thinking, and I know you said you'll reassess after 5 years, but in general, for damn near anything, except for your marriage, 10 years sounds like a long time, just generally speaking, in disc golf, right?
Even for a marriage.
That's
Terry and I are both going on 15 years for
I
our
hope
marriages
yours
this
is
year,
till the end of time, so that's why I say, outside of possibly a marriage, like 10 years for almost anything these days is a long time.
We made it 10 weeks. I'm pretty happy.
Is she though? So.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Back
we'll
to
move
disc golf.
Yeah. Sorry. All right. So that sounds amazing. Is there anything else that the world doesn't know or hasn't discovered with regard to this deal? That you want to talk about or announce from that specifically? I mean, it was huge news, but is there anything we haven't discussed about it?
About that MVP Open news, not specifically. It is interesting though when you say to yourself, "Oh my gosh, like I'm going to get very low 6 figures this year in the form of sponsorship, and what can I do with all of that money?" And as far as infrastructure for the course, I kind of accidentally already spent all that money. Like I haven't actually done it, but we have plans to spend all of that money on improving the infrastructure of Maple Hill. And it's just like, well, that was easy.
So that includes, if I watched the video correctly, you're talking about some more stands or some bleachers and things to watch. And that also includes inside the pro shop. You're working on some stuff. Yep. Expand on a few of those infrastructures.
More games at the Sap House.
Yeah. Free pinball finally, damn it.
Please, let's get a pinball machine up there.
We had a pinball machine that broke, and good golly, those are expensive to fix.
They are.
Over and over and over. But so we got rid of the pinball machine. But the Sap House has been we closed around Thanksgiving, and from Thanksgiving until about last week, we took everything out of the Sap House, and then we some of that foam insulation. I don't even know the stuff they spray in and expands. It was pretty cool to watch, but not to breathe for very long. It smelled kind of funny in there. Yeah, then 24 hours later, they put on drywall and then plaster. Like it's a room now instead of an unfinished garage, and it feels really good. There's a mini split in there, so it's HVAC. It's amazing. People come in and their eyes go bonkers if they've been in there before. If they haven't been in there before, it's kind of funny. I was working the shop last Wednesday, and someone came in. It was their first time ever being at Maple Hill. They were from Georgia or New York or some state, not Massachusetts. And I said, "Hey, what do you think of the shop?" Because for me, it was like ridiculously new and fun. And he said, "It looks nice." I was like, "Oh, you've never
You don't know
seen
what
it."
this once was.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to be really sad all year as new people come and be like, "Hey, nice, good. It's a shop."
Yeah, good job.
Yeah, exactly.
And to throw it
I
out
am
there, your
planning-
shop's not exclusively becoming MP only, right? That wasn't one of the little bylines, as you can only sell MVP discs in the shop.
MVP has a nice section in the shop, but it is not just MVP.
Okay.
We are also planning on indoor bathrooms this year. If everything goes right, we should have them done in time for the tournament.
Wow. Okay. That's funny because that's exactly what I was thinking when you were mentioning renovations and whatnot. I was thinking that's one of the few things that's not in there that would be great to have. Downstairs? Probably downstairs.
Actually, upstairs and downstairs.
Okay. I was gonna say
Yeah.
Gravity. Yeah.
We're building an addition also. There's going to be an addition on the back of the sap house.
Okay.
And it'll have bathrooms upstairs and downstairs.
Jeez. All right. So big stuff going on out there at Maple Hill, and the event this year a little bit different from previous years. I mean, you were absolutely a front runner in the qualifying, having these qualifying events, getting invited to the event, all the various iterations we've seen for, the Maple Hill and the Marshall Street and the MVP Open and all the other events you've had. You've had them all. And now, of course, being a Pro Tour stop, but this year's Pro Tour stop, again, a little bit different in being able to play there, right?
It's a playoff.
Yeah.
I heard, right? Or a
Playoffs.
playoffs.
Yeah, that was the best quote ever.
So what does that mean?
I want to know what was Jim Mora feeling inside when the person's asking him about the playoffs? He's like, "Do you know what just happened?" That would have been just being inside of his mental state would have been really fun.
So
anyway,
explain what that means for this year, because this is the first time we're seeing that applied for the latter, last two events of the year before the championship?
For GMC and MVP, and we're very honored to be a part of the first playoff structure of the Disc Golf Pro Tour. GMC, the field gets whittled down at GMC, and then it gets whittled down more at the MVP, and then it'll obviously it gets whittled down to the final groupings for the Tour Championship. And I'm going out of my way to not say any numbers because I've seen different numbers and I don't want to say the wrong ones. So, but it gets whittled down over and over and over. And so it'll be a smaller field, which actually plays very well into Maple Hill being a smaller venue. I actually don't mind having fewer players. It's sad not having as many regional players as we normally get. But disc golf grows and progress moves on, and all of these people have an opportunity to come and watch. And we actually have 4 local qualifiers, so some regional pros will get in, but not the 30 or 40 that normally get in. It'll probably be on the order of 5 to 10.
Is this kind of what you saw 6, 7, 8 years ago? Like getting to this point for the Pro Tour, like making most of these events exclusive to the top players.
Oh,
in that aspect.
Yeah, for sure, 100% for sure. And that when we first pitched the idea in 2006 on the PDJ board, that was the idea, was the best players in the world, MPO, FPO only, and ratings restricted, and let's cover it like it's a real thing. And yeah, anyway, all those ideas. It took a lot longer to get here than I expected.
Really?
And I'm
No, really. I'm like, that's surprising. Like, to me, I look at where we were 7 years ago, and I mean, I would have never guessed we'd be here in 7 years. I would have guessed.
Yeah, he was saying, to interrupt you quickly, he was saying back in 2006, way back then, when you were doing it, like you're
still.
I mean, 2006 to now, that's 16 years ago as opposed to 7. So you were already trying to reshift the focus of the national tour at that point in your own ways, right?
Right. Yeah. I got on the board of the PDGA and I put a proposal forward, and I think I lost that vote 5-2, and then the next year I lost the vote again 5-2. But anyway, um, yeah, we're trying to get the national tour to. Actually, I was just trying to make the national tour into what the pro tour is. So, and I expected, if we did that, how much further along we'd be. Um, and it took a little longer to get here than I expected. But to Johnny's point, we started in 2016. Holy cow, we did a lot in 6 years. And realistically, when I say we, I pretty much mean Jeff and crew, because ever since being well positioned with COVID, and having an infusion of capital and resources and manpower, and I'll point to you guys and say experienced manpower, allowed this whole thing to take off, and disc golf take advantage of the growth that happened when people were told be outside and be far away from other people.
Yeah, and when I think about, well, I guess the whole idea of Johnny said, do you want it to be exclusive, and the playoff scenario, did you have visions specifically of how the year would kind of finish out? I mean, for instance, did you have a conversation with Jeff Spring or anyone else about the playoff concept that we're going to see this year? Like specifically?
I did have a conversation with them as they brought it up to me.
Okay. So
I didn't bring it up to them. Yeah, I'm very happy that the tour championship happens the way it does. I love the idea of having those final four, having a Super Bowl of disc golf, if you will, that the final round with the best four players in the world at that moment. And the playoff structure, I think, is perfect. Everybody knows about the FedEx Cup, and anybody that looks into it knows about the FedEx Cup in golf and understands the way that works. NASCAR does a similar thing. So the concept there, but no, I never actually envisioned this for disc golf. I think it's a fantastic next step, and I'm crazy happy to be a part of it, and I look forward to being part of it as long as they'll have us.
How tough is it, and you kind of just touched on it, how tough is it when you hear from a regional pro or a faction of these people that say, hey, I've been coming to this event, I've been playing here, I've been supporting you for 10 or 12 or 15 years, and now it's gotten so big that I live 5 miles away and I can't come play, and that really frustrates me. And we're seeing that at your level, but then even all over the country as events get bigger and they start putting in ratings caps and or floors, I should say, and all this other stuff. How do you respond to that? How do you reply to those people that really, and GMC is in a very similar situation, I know. So how do you respond to those people that feel like they're really missing out on a regional event?
Do your listeners understand that I make jokes sometimes?
Sometimes they land, sometimes they don't. I understand that, and I usually get them all and love them. But go ahead.
So, in answer to your question, you have to understand the ivory tower that I live in, and I'm surrounded by sycophants who just tell me that all of my ideas are great. So
yes,
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Okay.
So, but in all seriousness, in reality, actually, people don't generally. You can find my phone number, my email, my Facebook,
one of them
profile. One of the two, yeah.
Yes.
The one that's
the one that has
active.
complaints.
Yeah. But I'm an open book. I want everybody to reach out to me with any complaint that you have. Whether I view it as valid or not is on me. But there's a reason someone's complaining, and you have to, when you listen to someone, you have to understand why are they complaining. You can't just be defensive and react negatively to it. Why is this person complaining to me? What is going on? And then is it something that I should address or that I can't because we're progressing away from that? So first thing I want to say is I encourage everybody, reach out to me directly. If you're complaining on social media, there's a really good chance I'm not going to see it. I might hear about it in a hearsay when Terry Miller questions me on Smashbox, but there's a really good chance I won't even see it. So to anybody, I've actually had nobody say that to me directly, and that's the reason I say what I just said. What I have had people say to me is, "Hey, Steve, I bet this happened at last year's MVP Open, and I'm going to try not to get emotional." But he said, "Hey, Steve, I've been coming to this event for 8 years now. I love this event. I take time off of work so that I can come here. I'm doing my click race as soon as registration opens for my rating skill. This year, I barely got in, and it was a very emotional conversation, and he just said, "I'm not going to get in next year, and I know that. And thank you very much for running this event and letting us be a part of it for as long as we were." And that's what I see. If someone wants to complain that the sport has progressed past their skill level at the final playoff event on the Disc Golf Pro Tour, I'm happy to listen to that, but we all know that's exactly what just happened. And if you want to play in the final playoff event of the Disc Golf Pro Tour, get out on tour.
Yeah, you're gonna have to earn it. Yeah, it's an overarching question and issue within our sport at all. Just all competitive events are that much tougher to get into. And now the elevation, the play has elevated, the demand has elevated, and we don't have that much more supply. And so we're funneling, to the top. And just like that, people are getting, I hate to say left behind, but they're just simply not eligible. And I think being out at GMC, again, they're passionate. They want to play these amazing courses in this incredible event that's been built up. But at the end of the day, there's only so many spots available. And that might mean the 980 regional pro who's really good and is a nice guy and gives lessons, he or she still might not make it into the event. It probably isn't going to. And I call that a growing pain. I mean, I always feel like growing pains are just a polite way to say somebody's just got to deal with a tough situation, but that's kind of really what it is here, right?
That's exactly what it is. Now, one thing I'll say, go back 3 or 4 years when anybody could play any of these events, and the payouts were half what they are, and next year it'll be a quarter. So the MVP Open 4 years ago had a payout of probably $40,000 to $50,000, and in a couple of years it'll have a payout of $100,000 to $200,000. I don't think that's a stretch. I think we'll be well over 100 this year, and I think if we're the final playoff again next year, I don't think 200 is out of the question. And there will be other events filling in at that $40,000 to $50,000 level that we're basically taking the top 100 and saying, you're not playing in that event because you're playing in these events. And the regional pros, you still have those events, and they'll be covered by regional camera crews. They'll be covered by regional versions of Terry Miller. And it's just, as the sport grows, there becomes more opportunities for everybody. But we're all used to being the guy up there, and now we're the guy. We're at the same level. It's just there's a new level above us, and that it's just uncomfortable. If you want to view it that way, you could view it as, holy crap, there's a level up there that I get to watch because those guys are freaking amazing.
Yeah, and I think about also the we'll call them complaints throughout the years of, well, why is this 960 person even here? Like they're getting beat by 40 at the end of the weekend. They're kind of, so to speak, just taking up a space or in the way. They're just a bottom feeder or whatever. And again, I'm just paraphrasing what a bunch of other people could say about it. So as our fields get more and more competitive, you're always going to be seeing top level golf. When just think of the day when we're all watching and everyone at the event, literally everyone at the event is 10:20, 10:30 and above.
Yeah.
Man, it's going to be tough to find a boring moment at that tournament.
And one thing I'll recommend is if you're in a skip-based league, don't pick that bottom. Don't pick like 3 good players in that bottom feeder, because that's minus 250 points. A lot of people might find that out after they picked, like the week after, and they're like, why didn't I get many points? So I'm just letting people know, if obviously it wouldn't happen to me.
No,
But-
nor
you have like math degrees. You would
nor
never do
would,
something so stupid.
I mean, if someone were to check the rules and look at the setup, or some people like to try to tank an FPO position thinking that they're going to pick someone like that. It doesn't work like that. Somebody thought about that. I don't know who it was. Ryan Pilcher actually. helped me out.
Way smarter than you.
Yeah, Ryan. Actually, true story. Ryan Pilcher helped me out with that.
So anyway, this is the first year I've been in skip ace leagues, and I'm loving it. And I'm in my Survivor league. I've already gotten past the first event.
Did you pick a surefire stud? Because some people think pick the studs first, go with your Wysocki's, Macbeth, whatever, and work your way down. Some people try to save the big guys for later in the season for more competitive events than LVC. But it was hard to get more competitive than LVC, considering we were like eight or nine strokes off the lead, didn't make the cut.
I'm going all studs all day.
All right.
That's my strategy.
All right. Sounds like Holly Finley's as well. She putts with a stud.
That's a disc?
Yeah.
I don't know any discs.
Okay. Anyway, moving on. So, we're excited to see what it will look like this year. Okay, you already said you don't know the exact number of people, but less competitors.
I don't even know the stud's a golf disc. What are we doing here?
Less people in terms of competitors, but what does it look like from a spectator is the word I was going for. You've been on the forefront of also trying out various spectator and volunteer methodologies throughout the years. What are you kind of thinking, without giving away all the details, what are you thinking with regards to spectators, volunteers, staff, that kind of stuff?
So regarding spectators, I just want to tell everybody that we killed it last year with the ice cream social. We killed it with the buffet. So basically, as the final card was coming around, we had an ice cream social, and then we had a buffet. We actually did it in that order. That was maybe backwards, but I like ice cream, so it worked out fine. Next year we're doing the buffet, or this year I should say, the buffet and then the ice cream social. But we're going to do that Thursday, Friday, and Saturday nights. So if you're on site, be ready for some free ice cream after your buffet. Got to eat your dinner, and then you get some ice cream. Buffet is not free, but the ice cream is free for everybody until it runs out. And we have tons of ice cream. It's so good.
I'm confused though. You're separating buffet and ice cream, and I think of ice cream buffets.
Ice cream
that's
buffet,
the only way. That's
which
the
is
only
like a bunch of different ice creams.
Yeah, like that's the only where I'm going with this. But go on.
Totally different. Yeah, okay. Totally different. But I do like that idea. And it was so, I love going to dinner with friends because they ask about the tournament, and invariably Jesse will be just like, oh my gosh, and Steve and I served so much ice cream. Yeah. Anyway, so she's a good sport. But the Thursday we announced on Nick and Matt. Have you guys heard that news yet?
Who's Nick and Matt? No, I haven't heard about them. I'm such a jerk. No, I that news I do not know of what you speak.
Okay, so Thursday night on Nick and Matt last night, I announced that we are having a $1 million ace contest for the women after the round on Thursday.
Dang. Okay.
What hole?
Hole one to the short basket from the long tee.
Terry nailed it.
Ah.
Yeah, it's what the insurance contract says, 450 feet. I think it's about 480, but it's downhill, and who knows exactly what it is. But so anyway, the UDisc is developing new stat, which is like a Accu Distance stat, and the top six women in that Accu Distance stat are going to get to throw 4 shots each, and then 2 other players, like fan vote kind of thing, are going to get to throw 4 shots each. So a total of 32 shots at this basket 450 feet away. And if anybody aces it, they will win. I should say the first person to ace it will win $1 million. That was a clarification that came up last night.
Yeah. It's a good. There's 6 women and 5 of them aced.
You could split it. I mean,
Wow.
So
Can I ask
that's our news.
what the policy that a policy like that costs?
So here's the thing. On Nick and Matt, I made a mistake, and I said it's 5 million. Shocker.
what?
Well, okay, I didn't make a mistake. I almost let a cat out of the bag, but guys didn't catch it. I said it's $5 million per day.
What? $5 million? None of that makes
per
sense.
Day. What is that? What are you talking about? I almost let out of the bag what I want to announce right now on Smashbox.
That you're doing a $1 million ace run each day.
Thursday and Friday.
Okay.
Just Thursday for the women, Friday for the men. We're trying to get people to show up on the first 2 days. There's really exciting stuff happening, namely $1 million ace shot. So come on out for the $1 million shot. And
is the men's hole the exact same thing?
No, it's 600 feet.
All right.
Yes. So I would like to announce on Smashbox, I don't think anybody probably caught it yet, but on Friday at the MVP Open, we're going to have a $1 million ace contest for the men. And that's your Smashbox exclusive.
Yes.
We got there.
I feel like
downhill.
That was
that's awesome.
From here, baby. So I also have to say a big shout out to East Coast Metal Roofing, who's helping to make this whole thing possible. I called Paul at East Coast Metal Roofing. I was like, here's what I want to do. And he was like, we are on board. And those guys are ridiculously supportive of everything disc golf. So if anybody needs a metal roof and is on the East Coast, primarily New England, but I think they do New York and PA. But definitely give East Coast Metal Roofing a call. Thank you, Paul.
That's so same qualifications. You said the distance is obviously longer, but essentially the same qualifications for the men. You're going to be taking them based on this new Accu stat.
Which that might be an exclusive as well. I don't know if they've announced that.
Yeah, does anybody know about Accu? You probably, yeah. Anybody know about AccuStat? Or is that what they're calling
Accu Distance. I don't know what they're going to call it.
Oh, okay.
Accu Distance. But I've talked to Matt about it. He said they have a working prototype of this stat. They want to do it over a few events and make sure that it passes the smell test. And then once they have it buttoned up, they'll release it. My guess would be within a month or two.
What's the general premise of that stat? Like, how conceptually, what are they using to arrive at it?
No idea.
It's gotta be.
I would just do. I would do it randomly based on like the third digit of people's PDGA number.
Unless you're only a 2-digiter.
Yeah.
I don't think Joe Maley even plays anymore.
He's not 2 digits.
Too bad, Stork.
No, he's a 4-digit.
He is. I don't. Yeah.
I would have to imagine Accu Distance is either using on a map, literally like touching a map to kind of get a general accuracy. I know they've talked about that.
I don't think they're adding any capabilities. I think they're just massaging the data they have. For me, again, I don't know what they're doing, but here's what I would do. I would do Eagles as an Accu Distance stat. Mm-hmm. I would do on par fours. I would do circle 1 or 2 in regulation maybe, and then same thing with par fives. Maybe if there's a way for them to figure out par fives in 2 strokes, like that would be another Accu Distance type stat. Fairway hits on par fours, maybe like that kind of thing, and you'd weight those based on whichever you think is most important.
Okay. Yeah, all right. So they're going to take some existing data and statistics, and they're going to put that all together. Is aggregate the right word? They're going to put those all together to come up with a new statistic that will then qualify these players to go out and have the chance to win $1 million.
And it's kind of fun thinking about the Accu Distance stat and thinking who's going to qualify for this. And like right off the bat, you got to think the number 1 player in the world, Drew Gibson, is going to get in. Calvin Heimberg,
Eagle, Calvin Eagle,
Ricky.
I mean, he doesn't he always just only make birdies from like circle 2? So
Oh, that's true. Yeah, it might not
If
even
they're
count.
if they're par fours and he's making them from circle 2.
Well, that if it's an eagle.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, I guess you have to think about who are your most accurate.
Someone like Ezra.
Okay.
Ezra can throw pretty far, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone would categorize him as extremely accurate. He's a very far thrower.
Okay.
but
Yeah, that's a good point. And that's gonna matter.
That's gonna matter. Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
And no offense to Ezra. Hopefully he changes. He's a bigger than me, and frankly, I'm scared of him. So
he seems like such a nice guy.
He is. He truly is.
I don't think he would beat you up unless a couple of people asked him to.
Yeah, I'm sure. If someone asked him really nice, he'd probably do.
One person. Just one person. He doesn't need a couple. Just one. There's still a little threshold there. Like you said, did you say his name? Yeah, I can beat him up. That's all it took. I got this.
And
okay. Awesome. So there's no reason for you not to want somebody to hit this. Like you're hoping, because you're paying a policy regardless, right?
Yeah. And the great thing is, like, someone could hit it the first night and hit it the second night. Because there's $2 million could be won.
2 different policies. And apparently on the Nick and Matt show, you talked about how each day was about $5,000 for the policy.
Right. Right.
Is there any qualifications on the size of the basket? I mean, can we make the basket really big? I mean, let's look
just a fishing net out there.
Can you send us a contract? Can I be there with the basket running around and trying to?
I like that idea. Put it on pneumatics and just move it. Yeah.
There you go.
Catch it.
Yeah. So you absolutely want this hit. It would be the
think about what would happen. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I mean, if we're gonna buy our way onto ESPN, this is a damn good way to do it, right?
Yes, it is.
I still think that shot is not going to be as valuable as James Conrad's shot. I think James still made more than $1 million on his shot.
Well, someone last night pointed out if someone hits this $1 million shot, let's say Ezra Aderholt hits $1 million shot, you would bet that whatever disc he used is going to have a stamp that says $1 million shot on it. And they're going to make another $1 million selling that disc.
There's going to be a lot of money made by the company and by that person, probably. You're right. Yeah, you're changing lives here, Steve.
one life at a time. Exactly. One life at a time.
That's pretty awesome. And that's officially probably we've seen these type of bounties on other holes. USDGC had it, I think, a $10,000 bounty.
And a bike.
We've seen cars before. From what anyone knows, this is the largest bounty on a hole ever, I'm assuming.
Yeah. I would assume that.
Yeah. I don't even know if I've heard of $100,000, but maybe. I'm not sure.
One really fun thing about this is the policy is about $5,000. It's a little over $5,000. And someone last night said, well, why not just give the person that gets the CTP a $5,000 prize? I was like, who cares about a $5,000 prize when you have the opportunity of seriously $1 million? This is insane. And if they hit that shot, I said this on Nick and Matt. If somebody hits that shot, they're allowed to jump in the pond.
Okay.
And all of the spectators are allowed to jump in the pond.
I mean, that's worth the price of admission alone, right there.
That's right. You have approval. You have approval. Just grab a life jacket on your way in and just dive in.
I think the only question that the entire disc golf community would then follow this all up with is, do you have the gentleman from Worlds with the American flag shorts? Is he there and on site and ready to go in case this gets hit? He'll have to be running around as well. I feel like you need to get him there. And I apologize, I don't know his name.
We need a line of those people. We just need a line of people like behind the basket without shirts on, with American swim trunks, American flag swim trunks, ready to just jump out from behind the basket. Okay. Which, by the way, will be on a platform. It's going to be on a 4x4 scaffolding that has marketing, says East Coast Metal Roofing, and
I was just going to say presented by whom?
Yeah, presented by East Coast Metal Roofing. It's called the East Coast Metal Roofing $1 million shot. And then we have room for about 5 logos underneath it. So if people want to sponsor this, please, I wouldn't mind someone helping to pay for it.
If we see a disc slam and pop out, are we going to see someone cry on live on the air?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, so one really nice thing, we're getting brand new baskets at Maple Hill, and these are MVP's newest top of the line baskets that have the 4 rings and I think it feels like it's 40 chains, and a whole bunch of chains go into each different ring, and these things swallow baskets. I've literally never seen a disc, and I've seen people putting at them really hard, hit the post and bounce out. It does not happen. I haven't seen a cut through. It's just these things swallow baskets. The chains all just kind of go whoop, and
they swallow discs.
So if they swallow discs,
if they swallow other baskets, they are mean SOBs. Like you just like put it on and it's out like eating other baskets on your course. It's like, get out of here! I'm taking over this fairway.
Sitting next to Terry, I have I'm waiting for a slip up at this point.
I was very deliberate. That's and I guess I can tie this into, that was one of the questions. We see mock X's. We've seen a lot of different baskets come about in the last few years, and a mock X has a ton of chains. Of course, presented or produced by DGA. That was a question I posed in post production this week, and I said, if you're throwing a disc for an ace and it's tracking toward a basket, and you absolutely want it to catch at any speed, what basket is that? And because I was staring at a mock X that was at the event. And I was just thinking how well those catch discs when they're coming in hot. And so you're saying that MVP has yet another level of basket. Is it debuting at that event, or just for this?
It's already on hole 18. We'll be putting the rest of them out as the ground thaws. We still have snow on the ground. So
okay,
we have a little here too.
Wow, that's exciting.
It is very exciting, and I personally would want to throw on if I'm going for an ace, I want to throw on a Mach 1.
Because then you know it.
Because it was me that put it in there. It wasn't the basket that did it. Like, I put it in there, I had it just the right touch, and it just settled right in.
Yeah. I'd love to see something splash out of a Mach 1 for $1 million and see how many people think, well, he didn't really earn it.
Yeah, I mean,
the funny thing is,
a 650-foot shot. Well, you didn't let it rest.
It wasn't
in
on point.
Yeah, I mean, you really got to let those things.
It was rising. It was going up.
Go ahead.
Yeah. I was just going to say, because his next shot is probably going to like hit left chains and bounce out and be like, those never get caught.
So on hole 1, for those that, break it down. What is hole 1 from the long tee to just over the water that people are usually just trying to clear, or that's a good goal from the long tee? You're saying that during Thursday's round, or after the round, that's where the basket will be placed, but up on a riser, or will that one be in the basket? Or in the ground?
It'll be up on a riser.
It'll be on the riser. Yep. And then you'll back it up 150 feet.
150 feet. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I mean,
and if you think about hole 1, when you watch Eagle, Calvin, Paul, Ricky, when they play that hole, that's right about where their drives are going. They put them right on the path, about 150 feet past the basket. I mean, by no means is it an easy shot, but it really feels like it could be hit, especially with it being a little downhill. You got about 15 to 20 foot drop in elevation. It probably plays about 550, and these guys can be controlled at that distance. And I'll go ahead and just say, I'm paying $5,000 a day. I think next year the policy is going to be at least 10,000. Because they're going to, I don't think the actuaries understand how good these players are. I think this is going to get hit.
Well, so here it is, guys. This year, just spray. So it's cheaper for Steve next year. So the policy goes down.
If you're going to miss big. Yeah. If you're going to miss, just miss it big. Huh. So how can you said that somebody could win $1 million on the first day and then $1 million on the second. The same person can't, right?
No, FPO and
yeah.
MPO.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, I guess in theory, if Paige Pierce played in both divisions, because MPO it's a mixed.
She'd have to qualify, and she'd have to qualify an MPO as well.
Yeah, okay.
You can't. Yeah, it's not like the old days where you can kind of just bring it in. So that's going to kind of wreck it.
She could theoretically do that, but she's already behind in points from LBC.
Well, couldn't she play in some of the qualifiers locally? Qualify that way?
No, because they're basing it on the stats. I think you're saying. You're basing it on the
stats?
Right.
No, because there is some local people that will get in. So in theory, a pro
qualifiers.
An FPO player could qualify by playing open in the qualifiers, get in to play both sides of the event.
Yeah. And then she could get into the men's. She could get into that Accu Distance stat.
Yeah,
that's what.
But it would be a fan. She'd be the fan vote.
Oh, okay.
All right.
So it actually could happen, and I encourage all of the women to come up and play our regional qualifiers.
All of them, yes, we agree.
They'll.
All the regional qualifiers and all the women.
And I'm sorry. So if my math checked out, did you say 4 shots per person and 32 total? That means you'll have 8 total individuals that will be throwing for this from each day.
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
So we're going to have. So we're obvious. I don't know if it's obvious, but we're doubling the number of fans that we had from last year to this year. So we were right around 700. We're going to be right around 1,400 fans on site this year. I would expect at least half of those people will be sticking around for this $1 million shot, if not every single one of them. So we'll have somewhere on the order of 700 to 1,000 people lining this hole and watching 32 shots and going freaking crazy.
Yeah.
Is there plans to live stream this? I'd like to know. You can. Are we doing this on the Disc Golf Network somewhere?
I actually haven't talked to the Disc Golf Network. I talked to Gatekeeper, and they're going to be filming it for post-produced. But I haven't talked to anybody about a live stream of it yet. It's a pretty good idea, though.
I smell a Smashbox exclusive coming.
Just
then have you also then, with all of those fans and people throwing for this ace, there was another policy taken out for when fans get hit in the head from these ace runs? They're all going to be littered all around the fairway. No.
In fact, the same person that did this. So I should give a shout out to Mike Calzone of Foy Insurance.
Okay.
If you live in Massachusetts or Rhode Island, maybe Maine, I don't know what states they're in. Connecticut, is that a state? So anyway, if you live in New England, I'd recommend. If you live in New England, I would honestly recommend calling Foy Insurance and having them price out your auto and home insurance, because I did that and he saved me $600 or $700. And then about a month later, Jess was paying her bill and I went, "Wah!" and said, just call Mike. And we just emailed him, and her bill was cut by more than. Honestly, it is over half her bill. Yeah, she was paying a lot, and then now she's paying
half of that.
Less than
half.
Yeah.
So more than 15% by Geico. So this is not a sponsored Geico ad, for sure.
No, Geico should say 50% or more. That's what Foy Insurance says.
Yes.
But
we save you at least 35% more than Geico saves you, who saves you only 15. That's what they should change their campaign.
Change their slogan.
We save you 3 times as much as Geico.
Yes. Okay. Man,
right.
If we're not a marketing think tank right here, I don't know what is.
What would the Foy mascot be? Because Geico has that little cricket thing.
The little Geico?
What would the
gecko?
I think it's a cricket.
I think it's a gecko.
It's not a gecko.
Yes,
what would Foy?
I'm gonna Google it. Isn't it?
Geico
Terry,
has the gecko.
Why would we want to give them any kind of credence? We're talking about Foy.
Yeah, Foy. I'd want to say
a cricket.
I'd want to say a duck for Foy, but that's Aflac already, because you got
I thought you were saying Geico was a duck, and I was like,
Aflac's a goose, not a duck, isn't it?
It might be a goose.
If it quacks like a duck.
I don't know.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. All right, Steve.
Where's all those drugs we don't do?
Yeah, no. Oh my God, I should
So
every
anyway,
Tuesday night. That's why. It's why I drink.
You guys should really do this on Wednesday. It turns out that
Soon enough, it will be. Don't worry. By the time we get through this, it will be Wednesday officially.
All right, I have some real
anyway,
questions. I have some real
let me
questions
just
for
finish the
Steve
sentence.
Dodge. Okay.
Foy Insurance, who's covering this hole-in-one, is and found the whole insurance for us. And they want it to be hit too because they have it. It's underwritten by somebody else. But they also insure Maple Hill, so they know what we're getting into, and we work with them on everything because they're awesome. Anyway, so let's get some real questions.
Some real questions. All right. So Maple Hill, the course. What type of changes or the money that you're doing, the money that you're getting? What are you thinking? What everybody considers Maple Hill kind of a close to perfect course. What do you see? Where do you see improvements on this course to make it better?
You know what's
itself.
fun is I just got a text message from Nate Heinold that said,
Saying,
"Who are you working with? Who are you working with?" I'm gonna get. It just said, "Who are you working with?" And I'm gonna guess it said for insurance on your ACE project.
Yeah, I'm chatting with him and relaying this. That's why he's reaching out to you. Yes.
Yeah, Nate
left
Heinold.
out.
I can hook you up with a good insurance agent.
They could maybe sponsor your Ledgestone Insurance Open. They've got a sweet looking duck. It's awesome.
Yeah. But Johnny, I apologize. Oh, what course? So regarding the course, the only hole that we're changing this year is hole 12 Diamond. That hole it played really, really long and really hard for the women. And so we're going to change. We're building a new tee that's going to be about 150 feet shorter, so that basically so the women can get to the same spot that the men do, like right before the top of that hill, so that their shot down into the woods is tricky. Just trying to equalize that hole to what the men do. It's also going to be a good tee for the white course, but that's not why we're on this podcast. But as far as infrastructure, we are going to be investing heavily on bleachers on hole 1, which are going to be great. And we're going to build bleachers on hole 1 and a platform, a stage tee. And the bleachers will be right there, and then the stage tee, and everybody can stand all around it. And the bleachers will be elevated as well, so that you can stand in front of it and not be in the way of the people sitting in the bleachers. But the idea is just to have the players come out and basically be rock stars, surrounded by a whole bunch of people who are being loud when they can be and respectful when they need to be. So we want to have seating for 200 or 300 people there on hole 1 behind the tee. We're also going to be building some bleachers on hole 8. We went out there and we were mapping out where we can put bleachers. It's basically a perfect bowl behind that pin, and the 8 holes picked a perfect spot to be. And we're going to clear out some trees and build some really nice benches, basically just in the woods. But they're going to be places for a lot of people to sit. And I encourage, if you've never experienced the 8 holes and you want to see what disc golf can be and how fun it can be, go do that. We'll also be, sorry, Terry, I'll finish this. We're also going to be adding some food and beer out there for the 8 holes and the 14 holes. That's a name I just came up with.
It's got a great ring to it, Steve. Let's keep with this marketing think tank. Go on.
Oh my Lord!
14 holes.
And
No,
their
please,
logo is a little cricket. And then but anyway, we're gonna have a food and beer vendor there to service those people, and hopefully we'll have hundreds of people at those 2 holes. And then we're also going to be investing in infrastructure, mainly the parking lot. Improving the parking and improving the traffic flow around the parking. And I'll just go ahead and finish by saying all of the media and all the players will be parking across the street this year, so we won't have any spectators parking across the street and then needing to cross the street and come over. Everybody will be everybody that parks across the street will be a professional, and we'll have police officers that escort them across, and it'll work great.
Has there been any thought about up on that 10, 13, 14 kind of top as far as food or beverage or exclusive seating or anything like that? Because, I mean, that seems like a natural spot to sit to watch a lot of good golf.
That's where the hot air balloon lifts off from. You should get a hot air balloon service.
Someone that can just the exclusive hot air balloons,
and then you get to take them up. That's roughly, or maybe a little off behind where like 10's basket. All right, so off. I don't know. I'm thinking to the left, so way left side of where 11's tee is. Go way off there. That's where people can get in and out of hot air balloon rides. Do you have room over there? Could you get one?
In 2020, I actually had conversations with a hot air balloon operator. We weren't able to pull it off, and those things are freaking loud. And the only place to really do it is right at the top of the hill, and you'd have to bring it down and then exchange people in and out and then put it back up. It's a fantastic idea. I obviously want to do that. If they could make those Bunsen burners that fill hot air balloons quiet,
yep.
That I think it's money. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So then, completely changing topics, unless you have something.
I have something. I just have some clarifications. Everyone loves the 8 holes, and it's become certainly part of the event. And the one downside, and I hope none of them kill me for this. The one downside is, because of their fun, loving, boisterous, wildly exciting good time over there, it can legitimately be, and fairly, it can be a little bit distracting for the other 17 holes on the course.
Too bad.
That's my question, is do we care? I mean, when, if there's an ace, clearly you expect an eruption, but there's times when I've seen players that their concentration is broken because there's, such a thunderous applause over there. I don't know. I mean, I know it's hard to say, hey, guys, you're having a great time. Now just simmer down a little. But I guess it's still a fair question, because if they keep getting louder, it's going to be, the players are going to notice it.
Well, I already referenced the 14 holes trademark.
Yes.
The same thing is going to happen there.
Okay. Very much disrupting hole 7.
Sure. 8, 9's pin is right across the pond, and water noise carries across pond very easily. The same thing is going to happen at the top of hole 10. There's a beautiful spot up there to watch those shots coming up. 11 and 13, we haven't built it yet, but in the next 2 or 3 years, there will be some kind of a structure up there to facilitate fans. Do we need to tell all of the fans to be quiet when someone hits it on the green? In my opinion, no. In my opinion, we need to tell people to come out here and have a very good time, and the players need to adapt. I've heard it might have been James Conrad who said that if he actually times out, in his head, when he counts when the 8 holes have erupted, and then he knows, okay, now I've got about 15 to 20 seconds to putt. And if I haven't heard them erupt a little bit, I'm going to wait a minute, and then I'll go take my putt. So I personally think it's important that the fans come and have a fantastic time.
I'm with you. I think that our players need to understand that we don't have to follow in, and even in golf, I mean, you hear eruptions from other holes.
Of course.
I mean, we're a much tighter course than a golf course, so it's going to reverberate a little bit more.
Although arguably they have a golf right now has probably 5 times the spectators.
Yes, exactly. So I think our players just need to understand and have to deal with it. There are sometimes if you want I always feel like this big explosion in exposure comes with what some might see as downsides and others are going to see as upside. Sure. Are you a fan favorite? Are you going to be the guy who's yelling at the fans to be quiet? Are you Shooter McGavin? I mean, or are you Happy Gilmore?
Right.
Okay.
I was actually, I think I was at a golf tournament. I saw Roy McIlroy shoot a really hot round, and that's the Tin Cup guy. If you
Mm.
didn't know that, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
that
Okay.
reference. Somebody caught that reference,
It,
but
it took.
anyway, yeah. But the people erupted. They
Yeah.
went crazy. Could you
So
imagine someone in golf getting a hole in one on a hole that was like surrounded by a stadium? Imagine what that would sound like.
Yeah, and somewhere like, especially if it's in Phoenix, like we're a
In
tournament,
Phoenix, yeah.
a tournament that has a reputation already for being kind of a party,
with all that water,
and then that
Okay.
imagine what it would look like. All right, so my next question, moving away from Maple Hill, I have a birdie box, a game in
Yeah,
my
I
other
do
room.
too.
I'm sure you have a few of them. What are we looking at for expansions? Are we done with expansions?
So
Are we moved on to other games for the Boda Brothers? Where does
I will
Birdie
say
stand for you?
I
Or
will say the
courses?
Boda Brothers in 20 whatever the last year was, 2021, uh, took quite a COVID hit. We all heard of, and it's still going on, the global shipping crisis. Uh, but in 2020 we had our Kickstarter and we sold 5,000 of the games, and we were like, wow, this is pretty cool. Like this could be a legit business. And then in 2021, so we reordered, and the shipping the shipping literally went up over $30,000 from the time we ordered to the time they shipped, and it took an extra 3 months for them to get here. Like, and Nate Heinold, who just texted in, was the games were supposed to be here a month before Ledgestone, and they got here 3 months after Ledgestone. It was just insanity. Sorry, Nate, by the way. But So we had a pretty rough year trying to recover from that $30,000 hit, which basically wiped out all of our savings for Boda Brothers. But we did do a whole bunch of planning. And what I would do if I was going to make another expansion pack for Birdie, I would want to have both playoff events represented in the Birdie franchise. So I don't want to give any hints as to what the next expansion pack might be, but that's what I would just want to make sure that both of the Pro Tour playoff events are represented.
I want I want the throwback Players Cup edition. Can you get us that?
Yeah, Ron Converse has been waiting for it.
He wants to be in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, well, that's the old Players Cup, right? Is it that one of the originals?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other games? I mean, we're talking expansion packs. How about games? We saw an airline-based game.
Yeah,
come about?
we have Standby, which is the travel around the world on standby, which is always a pleasant experience. And, and have you ever flown Standby, Terry?
Yeah. I was just gonna say, does that get confusing? Like, yeah, I'd like to order a standby. Like just even answering the phone. Like, how's customer support there? No. Can you please stand by? Yeah, no, I'm here. Yes, I'd like to get that. Yeah, I know. Stand by. Anyway, I'm sorry if I just gave you your next commercial, but anyway, so we saw that. Break down that game for us a little bit, and then tell us about your next game, the actual new game you're coming out with.
So Stand By the game. It's a dice card move around the board game. It actually has similar concept of Birdie in that you have cards that can help you move and cards that can hurt other people from moving. You have these little tokens that represent how many hours of sleep you got, and those tokens help you get dice so that you can fly more the next day. There's a good amount of strategy, but the game is mostly designed to just have a really good time with friends. And if there are people that fly around the world and have recognized how painful flying can sometimes be, it's even more fun. My brother, my brother is a flight attendant, and his daughter was, or maybe it was him. I get confused who tells me stories, but somebody told me a story where like three things in a row happened, and like two bad and then one good. And he's like, I swear someone was playing standby cards on me. Like he's just like anyway. Okay. So we have the standby game, but then we do have two more games we're developing. Oh, is it in the drawer? Oh
I
yeah.
don't want to see what's in
Okay,
your
this is an
drawers.
older. This is an older version, but this is one of the games we're developing. It's called Old Biddies,
I was just gonna say,
and it's a
is it old maid? Okay, go on.
it is not old maid. So like there's different characters. There's that lady, and then there's this lady, um, and and then there's guys too, but whatever. Uh, and the idea is you are an old lady trying to attract cats to your house. That's the game of Old Biddies.
I love that.
Yeah. Um, I have to give credit where credit is due. Jess came up with the concept, and I was like, yeah, we're running with that one.
Oh my
So
gosh.
yeah,
I always knew she was smarter than you. Oh my gosh.
it's not even close, Terry. Yeah, I came up with a mechanic, and it was basically, I'm just like, okay, play these little tokens, and that's the fun part. And we're like, what's the skin for this? And Jess came up with, she was like, old ladies trying to attract cats. And I was like, perfect. And so the game, and when you're trying to attract the cats, so you have like you have different cards. Like you have your two is your dry cat food, and your six
Uh-huh.
is like a coconut mix.
Uh,
And so if someone
and
plays the six, it's more likely they'll attract the cats.
Cats like
So
coconut?
anyway,
yeah, how do I not know
I
this?
well, they definitely like salmon. Every
Uh-huh.
cat likes salmon, right? You
They
can see
love
that one.
catnip. That's obvious.
This is a good one. Water. That's just a one. Whatever.
I feel like that should be a
So
sink as opposed to like a little water fountain, but okay. Those cats like
you
to.
got the idea.
Yeah, okay.
They do.
All right.
Yeah.
So anyway, we're working on that, and then my brother is actually in developing a disc golf card game. The original idea, he said, sometimes there's backups at a course, and I want someone to be able to just pull out a deck of cards and play like for just a 2-minute game.
Mm-hmm.
And after 6 to 8 months of development, it became just a full blown table game, and I guess that's just where we go. So anyway, we have another disc golf game in the works as well.
Awesome.
Yeah. So lots going on, and we'll have to see how things go. Realistic, it's a little painful to say this, but realistically, we're going to have to do a Kickstarter like from total scratch again, because all of the Boda Brothers money is gone.
Well, I mean, that's not uncommon in the board game business, where a lot of times, not almost every, but there are a lot of games and game developers that continue to do Kickstarters for each game. I mean, that's just kind of the nature of board games these days. Very, there's a few of them that are coming up by major companies, but a lot of them are just being kickstarted and then moved from there. So
yeah, I had genuinely hoped we could just develop the game, and then I think Kickstarter is a really good way to give people an early in. But we wanted to be able to make the games no matter what, and we're not in that position right now.
Okay. I was just going to say any other disc golf related games, but I guess you just kind of touched on the one that you're going to ultimately develop. How much of that takes your attention? Boda Brothers, is it only when it comes about and you guys are sitting around at the dinner table, versus like, hey, let's make sure we each log, our 40 hours this week with game development.
It's really interesting. Todd and I work on that. Todd, my brother, we work on it basically whenever we have time. He's done a really good job. It's over the last maybe month to 2 months. I've been very focused on the MVP Open, and the Maple Hill renovation. And he's done a really good job of giving me space and not saying, hey, you said you'd do this.
Do something.
Yeah, do something. I probably spend 2 to 5 hours a week on Boda Brothers. It's not a big time suck. And when I'm working on it, it's always a joy, because I love making games. It's just what I am.
Speaking of games, then going back to and tying it to MVP, at least for my first iteration and for many before I got there, had the pool ball races, had, ping pong or table tennis that turned one time into sting pong, which was even more hilarious. Pie eating contest. I got Waisaki just covered in welts. It's hilarious.
So bad. You had to take your shirt off to play.
Things got weird. Things always get weird at Maple Hill, let me tell you. But we've seen so many of those games. We've seen night golf, accuracy. How much, if any, of that? I mean, obviously the big ace throw-offs, but is there any of those additional games that are going to be, remain or get welcomed back to the event?
So we will always have those games available. I don't know how organized they will be this year. Okay. We're trying to shift. It's life's kind of, sometimes isn't perfect. Because the very first events, 2004 to 2006, I feel like we had a haircutting party every one of the nights. Like people would just get super drunk and the shears would come out and
that's how all the best haircuts are formed. Yeah. Look at yours.
I think, yeah, I think Matt Peckham showed up on the last day with just like, he had half of his hair gone and half of his hair was normal. It was just like, what is going on right now? And people, I didn't go to those parties because, I don't know why, but people would show up on the tees and I'm just like,
what the hell happened to you?
Anyway, there's a lot of good stories there. But we're shifting now to the spectators. The spectators are the lifeblood of this event. And that's what a lot of this needs to focus on. 10 years ago, it was more about, hey, we're having a fantastic time. Let's make sure that everybody goes and competes in ping pong and compete in the putting contest and the long drive contest. And now the long drive contest, it was always entertaining for spectators. But in 2021, it was something that like people said, hey, when is that? I want to go see that. And so we want to build on that and give people something really exciting, especially Thursday and Friday nights, something really exciting to come and watch. Next year, I'll go ahead and just say next year, I plan on expanding from the long drive contest to, I want to also have other contests. Go ahead, Johnny.
I think I was just, again, we're spitballing here. This is a MVP open brainstorming. I think it'd be kind of fun to take those games that everyone used to play, like Hide the Shears, and each one of your locations, your 8 holes, your 14 holes, your I can't believe I said that out loud. The 1 holes,
the 2 holes,
the 2, yes, and give one of those games to each of those groups. Like maybe the 8 holes do the pie eating contest. So when the live cameras swing around there, I mean, sometimes there's a backup on the next hole, but you could turn around and be like, hey, they're about to do the pie eating contest with the 8 holes, or we get to the 14 crew and and hey, they're doing some other contest that Maple Hill used to be famous for. I think that could be fun. You
got to represent your set.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I would love to see on the 8th hole, if you get a birdie or you hit your putt from the drop zone, like the one of the 8 holes has to run out and like hand you a pie and you eat it as fast as you can right there. And then every times you, and if you take more than 30 seconds, you get booed. And then you go to the next tee and, whatever.
And then throw up. And then...
Yeah, I was going to say, my plan didn't involve the players, but
no, I want Raven Newsom. Raven Newsom's going to bang that putt from the drop zone again, and then he's just going to mow a pie.
I mean, I think it should be an option, but I'm just saying.
I like it. Okay. Yeah. Force feeding pies sounds like that's right there in the fine print of the ticket sales. You may be subject to having a pie shoved down your face. Yeah. Okay.
Imagine the lead card comes through and yeah, here you go. You line them all up and say this is
Yeah, I guess that's how we have to go about it. And then I guess that kind of goes hand in hand with a vision. One of the visions for within the early stages of the Pro Tour involved, this very carnival, fun, interactive atmosphere and experience, which is kind of what we're touching on now. But games and things that whether it's families or spectators. There's just really not a lot of room left at Maple Hill to have some of that stuff, is there? I mean, because I feel like now we have food trucks and beer trucks and vendors and so many other things. How do you balance what it is that you want to have there on site?
So one interesting thing, we're just making better use of the space that we have. Last year we had about 7 vendors total, and they all had a great time. And from what I understand, everybody enjoyed them being there. And this year I expect we'll have about 14 vendors because we're just shifting things around, looking at the space. Google Maps is a wonderful thing, and you just look at the space and go, what is the best way to put a bunch of 10 by 10 tents on this space? And there's on hole one, between hole 1 tees, the diamond and the gold tee is that Christmas tree field.
Mm-hmm.
And rather than putting the tents, to the left and up towards the corner, we're going to put them up against the. It's funny, I do this and I see my hands. For everybody listening to the audio, my apologies for the hands all the time. Do you release this in an audio format only tonight, like right now?
No, that's on Wednesday.
Actually, it is on Wednesday.
Yeah.
So we do
Yes, it will get released tonight.
Maybe that's what anyway, that's hilarious. So, but then we're just putting the tents on the other side of that. So we'll be able to get more tents. We're just using this space more efficiently. We're talking about having a putting station, like a speed putting station, so fans can have more things to do. I've heard the Pro Tour might be having some sort of festival games. I don't know if that's true or not. That was just a rumor.
Zoe, Paul, you're coming back, baby.
Shasta?
Start building those things back up. I want to see Dodge City. Let's bring it back.
Burning that at GMC was a very cathartic experience. That was nice.
Yeah.
But I'm also planning on having a disc themed escape room on site. I have a local friend that designs escape rooms, and he and I are working on something that I think will be very, very fun. Just a quick, like 2 to 3 minute escape room for 2 to 5 people. If you don't get it the first time through, maybe you go through again. And it looks like it's going to be a great time.
Yeah, I designed an escape room in college, and it was not a great time for some. So, all right. So,
lawsuit still pending.
Where's Sunstein when I need them?
I am so glad I'm being quiet right now.
Plead the fifth. That's what I've been told. Yes. All right. All right. So, is there any stone that's been unturned here in our Maple Hill MVP conversation? Anything else we need to worry about here, Steve?
I want to tell the world how great the Maple Hill crew is. Since Thanksgiving, we've done a really good job of renovating the pro shop. We've done a good job of organizing, getting prepared for the 2022 regular season, if you will. Maple Hill officially opens on daylight savings, which is this Sunday. And then coming up, we have starting in April, we're going to have disc golf, Maple Hill Disc Golf School on every Monday, and up to 15 people come out and get lessons from Gage Benson, our course pro. Every Tuesday we'll have our league. Every Wednesday is Women's Wednesday. Women can come and play for free. Use the coupon code MHWomen when you're making your tee time.
The same thing Terry tried to do in college, but okay.
Again,
didn't work.
Just leaving those alone. And then we're having a monthly league sponsored by Cosmic Disc Golf. The Cosmic Monthly Series from April to October, playing red, white, blue, and Old Glory in succession each month. And I'm just really excited how prepared and organized the team has gotten Maple Hill this year. And I'm excited to knock it out of the park. I'm excited to get new bathrooms. I'm excited we have a new shop, and then all of this improved infrastructure for the spectators is going to be great. Oh, also I'm working with you guys know Charlie, the caddy for, I think he's Eric Oakley's caddy.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's always in the white Yeah,
Yep.
Caddy
Yeah.
Schmuck. Yep.
So he lives in the area, and he is helping me create the spectator routes. And we're actually going to start putting the signage up in the next month or two, so that locals who come to the course will just sort of ingest that as they play, and when they show up to spectate, they'll be like, oh yeah, I know how this works. And so we're just going to start educating the spectators nice and early. Like one of the things we're doing is on hole 1, you can only go down the hill. You got to go with traffic. You can't come back. You got to go, if you're coming back, you got to go up 2, or you got to go up 18. And so we're just mapping out the best way for spectators to walk. And I'm very excited for how prepared it feels like we are. Obviously, we're going to miss a lot of stuff. We always do.
Don't worry, the internet will not hold it against you for years and years and years.
Yes. They'll barely even notice, and they'll definitely keep it to themselves.
Right.
So that's awesome. You're going to have, just like at the airports, you're going to have those moving walkways sending everybody down one, and if they want to come back up, they got to fight that moving walkway.
It's actually a zip line, but yeah.
Okay. You know, there is a zip line on a course in Minnesota over at Vision Quest, so I think
That's right. Yeah.
I think that should be a thing. How fun would it be to zip line down one?
Hole 1,
at oh my gosh, why are you not doing that?
Mike Calzone from Foy Insurance.
That's why he's not doing it. Literally.
Okay, that's all we need. Okay, it's Mike's fault. I got you. But if you did a hot air balloon and then just the landing, like, oh, your ride stops here. We're above the pond on 1. This is where you get out. I don't know.
Terry, do you have a favorite ice cream?
Blue Moon.
What do they? I think they call it all.
Brand.
I think it's the flavor is all. No. Blue Moon. Johnny is right. Which is very Midwestern, as I've learned when I was out in California.
Okay.
Nice blue state. I don't know. Anyway, yes, Blue Moon.
No, we have Blue Bunny. That's different.
Blue Bunny's
Blue
the
Bunny's
brand.
the brand. Yeah,
Blue Moon
they do
is
make
the flavor.
Blue Moon though too. Some Blue Bunny in certain areas will make a Blue Moon, but Blue Moon, if people,
it's gross.
It's not. People, it's funny. I wouldn't go out of my way to buy Fruit Loops, but when people want to describe what Blue Moon tastes like, they say it kind of tastes like a mix between like Fruit Loops and cotton candy. And I never had thought about it that way before. I just love the taste, but that's how others would describe it.
I could see that. For me, Blue Moon is good for about 1 bite. And after that, I'm like,
well, that's where you're wrong. You don't bite ice cream, so you're already failing at ice cream.
well,
and as an expert in ice cream, let me tell you, Blue Moon's the way to go.
If I think about confetti birthday cake, is that the flavor?
No, but that would work. I mean,
that's a different flavor.
I mean, I'm not hating on it, that's for sure. But no, confetti.
Okay.
No, Superman I think some people have said Superman. They've tried Superman ice cream.
Well, when Steve Dodge comes out here to Wisconsin and visits us in Milwaukee,
I know where we're going.
We're gonna get some Blue Moon ice cream.
Well, you hold your little hat, because I've talked to Jess. Terry, you know how much she loves you.
No, but go on.
Well, she met you and she was impressed. She thought you were a very nice person.
Quick meeting.
We should probably leave it that way then.
Don't meet again.
We don't want to roll those dice, all right? Because eventually we're going to come up
That's a new
short.
Boda Brothers game. Do you like Terry? Like, oh god, I got the interview card. Crap.
The 6-sided dice, I'll say no. So you roll it.
Why go 6? Let's do a 20-sided.
A one-sided coin.
Anyway.
But anyway, I told her I was going to be on Smashbox, and Milwaukee came up, and I was like, we need to go to Milwaukee sometime and visit with Terry and Johnny.
You need to come here for Summerfest.
Yes,
Summerfest. Are huge. Yeah.
Is the Pro Tour Studios in that area?
One of them.
It is. One of the Midwest studio is here in Milwaukee.
Just a few minutes from where we are. So yeah, absolutely.
We're almost moved in.
That's very exciting. We'll wait.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, you're welcome. Let's do it.
So,
you're coming too, not just her.
She likes you, so I mean, yeah.
You can come visit me, Steve.
Terry, every once in a while, Facebook sends me these little reminders that I've known you for a long time, and there's some awkward pictures.
No.
No, the one with your nose buried into my cheek, and we're face to face. No, I don't think so.
I enjoyed one of the first Vibram interviews, and you were just standing there, and I just started hopping up and I just started jumping up.
Yeah, that was the 2010 Worlds, AM Worlds. You and I
that
had
might
a
have been vlog
conversation.
34. Someone referenced it on our board earlier tonight. So
We go a long way back, Steve.
How young you guys looked.
Yeah.
And somebody's got a birthday in a few weeks too. Well, I guess
Me.
Well, Johnny, but then Steve, are you April 1st
No.
or May 1st? Somewhere around end of April, April 29th, 28th, one of those dates.
There you go, April 29th. That's damn good, Terry.
Okay, I knew it was. I was thinking it was the beginning of April. It's the end of April. All right.
And you're November 4th?
Not even close. Oh, you got the day. You got the day.
August 4th.
August. There you go.
Wow, that was random.
For a second there, I thought you really knew, like it was like the 4th, and then it took me about a split second. I'm like, no, that was just a random guess. Way to go!
Roll the dice again, Steve.
Do you like Terry?
All right. Is there anything else? Here's where I'll ask, because you've now mentioned it a couple times. Whether it's personal to us or you're posting more publicly with it, and you said it already tonight. You are consuming live disc golf, and you
consume
Jess,
ice cream.
Yes, exactly. And you and Jess have been watching it and consuming it, and it seems like it's more than keeping your attention. Is it exactly what you expected? Is it where's room for improvement? What are we headed in the right direction, just generally speaking?
Of course. Honestly, it would be silly for me to try to come up with ways for you guys to improve, because I know for a fact that there are people who are paid to do that who are much better qualified. I see the improvement. Well, the LVC was, in my opinion, far and away the best broadcast ever in disc golf. And I'm just going to keep enjoying watching these shows improve. And holy cow, the players are so good too. Like, not only the camera operators are great, but watching, like, if we could, I told I don't remember who I was talking to. Maybe it was Brad Peets over at Jonesboro, and I was like, just make sure that you finish the round thing, that thing's in a tie, and everything's going to be cool.
Good golf hides mediocre broadcasts. Now, not that LVC was a mediocre broadcast. I enjoyed the LVC broadcast, but
it certainly helps.
But great golf will help hide a lot of flaws.
I wish that there was a point where they showed, I think it was on the women's side, and they showed one of the women's shots over again. I think that actually happened twice. Like, they played a replay twice, and I wish that the commentators had played out, gone ahead and said, well, there she goes again, or just something along those lines.
Yeah.
But it was just silent, awkward, and it was just like, we're not going to forget that happened. Come on, you gotta play into it a little bit.
Yeah, that was honestly, I think that was Mo who cues up the replays. He replayed it, and it was a little hectic, and he honestly couldn't remember if he had played it. It was sitting in our queue, and he's like, "Did we play this? I don't know if we played this or not. So let's just play it again." And we're gonna play it again. So every once in a while, you'll catch them. So
it's funny, Johnny. I honestly forgot that you did that. Like, I'm genuinely so far removed that it's just like, I'm just watching what they do, and it is so much fun. Like, I schedule my day, and I just like, okay, at 2:00 they're going to come on, and I'm turning it on, and I watch that countdown, and I make sure you guys start at 0. That is one thing I would like, freaking start on time, and you do, and it's wonderful. I love it. I'm really, really excited, and people will go ahead and ask me, do I have any kind of irritation or sadness that I'm not running the Pro Tour, or that I wasn't able to see it through to the finish line of profitability? And I'm just like, in my opinion, I succeeded exactly how I wanted to. Oh, well, I never want to go through 2019 again. But we succeeded to the point where we created something that people wanted to watch enough so that the Pro Tour was literally saved. Um, and now I'm able to sit back and watch live disc golf, which has been my dream all along. And the fact that I get to come on Smashbox is just a bonus.
There's been a small swell of sentiment about naming an award after you.
Oh boy, I need to hear what that
Is
is.
this a short joke? What are you saying? Small?
I'm just saying, there's people out there that believe that because you had the vision for the Pro Tour, you fronted a lot of money, you put yourself in some very awkward positions, looking back at things, that there could be a Steve Dodge Spirit of the Game award, or kind of like we have a Bob West Bob West Award, the Memorial Award,
Sportsmanship,
that there could be a DGPT award. If there was an award for the Pro Tour named after you, what would you want it to be?
What would you want it to represent?
Yeah.
I love your idea of the Spirit of the Game. That's a really interesting. I don't know what to say to that.
Because and I'll tell you, I surf a lot of social media in general. I sit on my butt on my day job and do computer stuff. I watch a lot of blue lines progressing as people install software. And so I have time to kind of peek around a lot. And there is I'll say a not small segment of the people who realize where this came from and the beginnings of it, and think that that you should be a Hall of Famer, which I do. I'm in that boat as well, and we're going to talk about the Hall of Fame a little bit later. But in general, think that the DGPT could, and I'm not going to say should, but could honor you in some way. And it's not a small sentiment out there. I think when it's brought up, a lot of people agree with it. It got me thinking a couple months ago, one of the last times I saw this, like, what kind of award would Steve want? Like Spirit of the Game, a most valuable player. But I think we already have those right now. Those were just named last year. I think we have Elaine King and somebody else,
other players,
but yeah, just like a spirit of the game. So
whoever the Spirit of the Game award was named after is probably a really nice person, and they wouldn't mind if it was named after me instead.
All right.
Well,
but Johnny, that's a really nice sentiment, and if I had it's silly for me to say anything like this out loud, but I'm a relatively silly person, and I stick my foot in my mouth all the time. I'm not worried about being in the PDGA Hall of Fame. I want to be in the DGPT Hall of
Fame. Okay.
All right.
Wow, that seems like a no-brainer for starters. And again,
I think both, but okay.
Yeah, I'll just say it. While we're all gushing on Steve, that if people think anything but you being 100% of the not only the originator of this idea, but then getting it started, as Johnny said, anyone I immediately just dismiss them because they don't know what they're talking about. You read stupid things on the internet every single day, and I've read some of the dumbest things that when they even just make their sentence, it's like you have no idea where this has come from, where we're going, and some of the assumptions they may or may not make that go along with it. And so I immediately just dismiss them and what they're saying at that point. You are the reason the Pro Tour exists entirely. Now, as you said, it got handed off and it got you passed the torch on. But for anyone that says things like, "Oh, the Steve Dodge got in the way of the Pro Tour," I literally read that last week. Steve Dodge got in the not realizing you started the Pro Tour.
The good thing for Steve is we've half the people that play disc golf weren't even playing in 2019, so they have no idea.
That's perfect.
Yeah,
they don't even know what I did in 2019, and that's a good thing.
But it's not because
it is and it isn't. We obviously, we're always here, and yeah, I would love to see. I think at some point a Steve Dodge award of some sort, and I hope the Pro Tour has seen that and listened, I'm on board. Or the Terry Miller Brown Nose of the Year award, according to Disc Blaster.
Yes.
It feels ridiculous to me that I'm even in this conversation.
It shouldn't, but okay.
I'm just like you guys. We're just guys doing something that we love. I happened to take all of my savings and a little bit more and put it all into building the Pro Tour, and didn't succeed financially. And thank goodness I didn't succeed financially, because someone who had financial resources was able to step in and put, I'm going to go ahead and say, a more talented crew in place for where the Pro Tour was going. I'm really, really proud of what you guys and me and Miles and Sean Jack and the whole crew all put together back in those early days. I actually was telling at dinner tonight the story of Seth Bentley and I setting up the courses. It felt like it was just the two of us, and then when Joey Tamale came along, it was like, phew, we got a little kid to help. And and then last year at the tournament, Seth and I were talking, watching other people setting up the truss, and I was like, "This is the way. This is life.
This is how you do it. Good. If only we'd have known."
What are we thinking? But I'm really touched that I was able to do something that I'd always wanted to do, and I'll encourage anybody listening right now, if you have an opportunity to do something that you think is going to matter in your life, I would encourage you to do it. And if things, in 2019, everything collapsed for me. It was as bad as it could possibly be. And you know what happened? Time went by, and it is not that bad anymore. And I'm a much stronger person now because I went through that and had that experience. I flat out failed financially, but life goes on, and we're all going to be fine. I say take as many risks as you can, and keep living and experiencing. It's kind of a beautiful thing that we've all been handed, just the fact that we're alive. So I say take that opportunity.
So it sounds like we send him our unpaid invoices now from 2019. I'm just kidding. Oh, look, Steve's on his feet again. Let's get him. No.
But I do think that we all got lucky in that Todd and Jeff and company came in when they did, and were able to take advantage of the COVID surge in the way they have, and the sport and DGN and DGPT are all much better off for it.
Yeah, clearly. I mean, it's, as you said, it's just been this. We had to go through, experience certain things to then get to a point we did, to then build and regrow and rebuild and just continue to grow and thrive from there. And at some point, there'll be another, probably naturally, there'll be some form of a minor or major setback, and you build upon that and you progress. I mean, it's like everything else. And yeah, it's been a wild ride, that's for sure.
Yeah, I wouldn't change a thing. I honestly wouldn't.
All right. Well, Steve, thanks for joining us tonight.
Thank you, guys. Yeah. You guys keep doing a great job. I'll listen to this on Wednesday when it comes out.
That sounds like a good idea.
Sounds like a plan.
And yeah, you're welcome anytime in Milwaukee, both of you. Just show up with Blue Moon and you'll be set.
Is there any way that I could get a copy of the audio podcast earlier? Do you do that for anybody?
Well, we do release them directly after the broadcasts for our Patreon supporters.
Patreon? You guys have a Patreon?
Yeah.
We do have a Patreon.
Patreon.com/SmashboxTV will get you there.
If you're watching the audio, it's right here. It'll get you the audio. Yeah, look at.
I'll link it for you.
Oh yeah.
And you can be part of our studio audience, which is a bunch of minis that are hung on the wall with unique pictures on them that people have. You can get part of the clothing tier, which I need to send something out here really quick. I need to talk to Miles about that.
I want to do that.
Yeah, you can.
Anybody, yeah.
I'll send you the link. You too can join.
Patreon. Oh, yeah, it is out there. Patreon.com/SmashboxTV.
Terry, my email is jeff@dgpt.com.
Just send all invoices there. Okay. Gotcha.
All correspondence goes.
All right, Steve, as always, we love you. You're welcome here anytime. I don't know what you were doing, like planning this out weeks in advance. That seems a little too advanced for us. But you can drop in anytime you've got news, planned or otherwise. Congratulations on your incredible partnership that's going to continue with MVP. We're looking forward to...
I thought you were talking his marriage, but okay.
Yeah, that too. Yeah, definitely congratulations to you on that.
I have one question for both of you, and then I promise I'll sign off.
Okay.
On the men's side, which was the exclusively announced today for this $1 million shot, who do you guys think is going to get the CTP, which is worth $500?
Oh, it is.
Oh, it's worth $500. CTP.
Yeah.
I think we would see it be. I think Eagle. Eagle McMahon. He has a power. He has no. He has a powerhouse. He likes to throw the big monster spikes. He's less likely to get a skip away and probably plant one near or under the basket. So Eagle McMahon is my pick.
Gosh,
you can't pick him now.
That's fine. I was gonna say the Ultimate Showman. It would have to be Simon, but now I'm second guessing, saying with the points and the requirements, I don't know if he'll be eligible depending on what he's played or not played for these stats that you don't know how they work or exist yet. So if I can't pick Simon, my next best guess is Calvin Heimberg.
After watching Calvin at the All-Star, watching those shots, I feel like Calvin's got a good shot. Eagle's not a bad choice, though.
I like Eagles' pure power. So
okay, who you picking, Steve?
Yeah, I was picking Calvin.
Okay,
he's gonna pick himself.
Yeah,
okay. I like it.
I think the last time I played, I didn't reach the pond. So
we'd be right there.
Just laying up safe. We like that. That's a good move on that ball.
Steve Dodge, always known to play it safe. Yes. That's what it is. We've always.
That's right.
All right, Steve, we love you, buddy. Congrats on everything, and we look forward to not only showcasing it to the world in our own ways, but growing and thriving and experiencing all this incredible stuff within the sport of disc golf, and so much is owed to you, and we certainly appreciate it. And again, you're welcome here anytime, buddy.
You are beautiful men.
Thank you very much, Steve.
Thank you, buddy. Have a good night.
Steve Dodge of the MVP Open and Maple Hill, creator and founder of the Disc Golf Pro Tour, former PDGA board member,
tournament director of the year,
tournament director
eventual
of the year.
Hall of Famer. We'll call that now.
Oh God, yeah.
And then co-owner and developer designer of Boder Brothers Games. Also previous owner of Prime Disc. I don't know. That guy.
Yeah. Well, what we do
What's he going to do next? Open a barbershop?
No, he's not going to. What we do have right now is we have a video from Ace Run Productions, a one disc, one tip with one Mr. Nathan Queen. So just sit back, relax. It's a few minutes. When we come back after this, we're going to talk a little bit about the memorial and some news that came back and forth before we get into some after show talk. So once again, thanks to Ace Run Productions, one disc, one tip with Nathan Queen.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Felix with Ace Run Productions, and we are back with another one disc, one tip segment, and we've got the 2021 DGPT champion, Mr. Nathan Queen.
What's up, man?
Hey, thank you so much for joining us for this segment, Nathan.
Yeah, appreciate you having me.
Absolutely. So you had a banner year last year. Tell me what that moment was like, sinking that putt, knowing that you were the 2021 Disc Golf Pro Tour champion.
Yeah, it was a pretty crazy feeling. It's not one that I can easily describe. You said banner year. I just say I had that one good event. So like it was, it basically, it didn't fix my year, but it made it to where it just, you know, it made me feel better coming into this year, knowing that I am able to do that. It just kind of solidified what I knew I could do in the first place. It was incredibly fun to watch, round over round, you just fighting from the lower position the entire way. I'm sure that helps to build your confidence as well as you're continuing to do it round over round. Each day, my mindset was kind of, I'm starting again. I didn't really look at it as I just played a good round. Now I get to do it. Like now I'm continuing the same event to do it again. It was more like I'm starting over again the next day. So I really wasn't trying to think about the previous rounds too much, because I was trying to get that mindset of just starting over again.
So another year for you with Innova. I know you've got a bunch of discs that you rely on, but going through your bag, if you can think of one disc that's in there now that can make a difference in anybody's game, what disc would that be?
I'm gonna say Mako 3 for now. It's a super reliable straight flyer. Once you've worked it and understand the speed that it needs and the different angles that you can throw it on, you can do just about anything with it. If you know how to throw it correctly, you can throw it for a hyzer or a straight shot or a turnover shot.
There's a reason why it's in so many elite pros bags, for sure. Switching gears a little bit, thinking about the strategy involved in the game and tips that you can maybe share and imparting some of your knowledge. What's one thing you think can help anybody in their game along the way?
When you're first learning, or even after you've learned how to throw and kind of hit your lines, it's very important to let the disc do the work most of the time. You don't want to, if you're pulling something out to force it over and make it do an S-line on a straight shot, then you're not throwing the right shot. You really want to pick a disc that's going to fly that straight line. You want to, if you're trying to throw a hyzer, you want to throw a disc that's going to go out flat and then hyzer a little bit. You don't always want to just try to throw a disc that you're comfortable with on a shot shape that disc is not made for.
Awesome, great tip. Love all of it. So Nathan, take the time out here to go ahead and thank your sponsors, and how can anybody follow along on your social media to see what you're up to?
Yeah, my Instagram is nqueen_68286. That'll be the best place to follow along and kind of see what I'm doing this year. Innova Disc Golf, this will be my 4th full year with them. Picked up midway through 2018. Super excited to be with them again and have that tour series disc coming out soon. I'm excited for that. Dark Ace Apparel is a new sponsor for me this year. They're stepping up big. I'm excited to work with them, and kind of partnered with that as well. Local Line Apparel, both of these companies are close to the St. Louis area in Missouri, so definitely check those guys out. They're helping me out a lot this year. I've teamed up with Flight Towel again this year, along with Fawcett Disc Golf Bags, and Tree Love has always been a supporter of mine. They're good people down from Dallas. So appreciate all those guys. Check me out on Instagram, and hopefully on some more Ace Run coverage.
There you go. Well, thank you so much, Nathan, for taking the time out to do this segment with us. As always, Smashbox, thank you so much for airing these segments. And from all of us at Ace Run Productions, let's run it.
Thank you so much, little Ace Run Productions. Nathan Queen, of course, your champion from last year's Disc Golf Pro Tour Championships, with some great insight. Yeah, I was just going to take a deep breath. We had a pretty lengthy chat with Steve, which is no surprise. He's one of our favorite guests to have, because he is filled with so much insight. And as you were saying, he's got his hands in a lot of different cookie jars. And one of the questions that came up on the board that we didn't even get a chance to ask him, but it was a legitimate question, was what did he think of Jomez paying for the rights to be covering the first card at the Disc Golf Pro Tour for the next 2 years. And Johnny and I know him well enough, I think, that we could say that he absolutely loves seeing that. And,
hands down.
And his vision was essentially to flip the model that we have currently on its head, in that there would be those opportunities for people to buy the rights, but clearly we continue to build to the point of even trying to make that a reality. And I'll every week for a long time probably throw out the disclaimer that works for certain events in certain situations with certain productions. That's we're a long way off, I think, from I don't know if long is the right word, but we are still ways off from that becoming the standard practice. Okay,
lots of fun. So we need to talk real quickly probably about the Memorial, the event in Phoenix, Arizona, that you happened to cover this weekend with, as we talked about early, just probably some of the results.
Yep, sure. I didn't even see who won. Don't spoil it for me, bro.
Well, I was able to watch some post-production coverage, so I know who won. On the MPO side, a little guy. He's like 5'6".
I don't think he's that short.
Is he? I don't know.
he's not.
Everyone looks 5'6". For me, I just assume everyone's 5'6" because they're all like so much shorter than me. But anyway, a man by the name of Paul Macbeth dropping down some huge ratings. 11
the first couple of rounds.
11:08 on the first round, 10:98 the second round, 10:39 the third round, and 10:52 the fourth round.
Meh.
And we know Fountain Hills tends to produce these, I don't want to call them inflated, but higher than normal round ratings based on a lot of different things. The top pros are going to be shooting way better than the bottom pros because of all the OB and the strokes that can come into effect. So it really kind of has a variance in the ratings. But either way, it doesn't matter what the ratings are because Paul Macbeth shot 3 strokes better than Anthony Barella. In third place, Aaron Gossage at a 35 under par. Fourth place, a tie, Drew Gibson at 31 and Adam Hammes at 31 as well. So congratulations to your top 5 finishers from probably the biggest A tier of the year.
Yeah, you think about the staples, the events that we've seen for many years. This is the 34th annual Memorial Championship that's taken place. And so not only the longstanding history, we've seen it kick off the national tour, we've seen it kick off the pro tour, and it continues to be an event that, 2 years in a row, people have said, well, it's not kicking off those tours. How big or how good can it be? If you're getting, I'll say, particular about it, it's good enough that Paul Macbeth continues to show up, and obviously, you have 1040.
It's a great event.
Yeah, you have 1040. You have others people. Clearly, there are still people that very much believe that they don't feel that the course is that exciting or that they don't love it. Then all I can say to that is, then it's okay. You don't have to attend and you don't have to watch it. But you're still seeing our players go, and
it's kind of funny because I feel like there is and we're only like really 1 year removed from it not being on the tour. It wasn't on the tour last year. Mm-hmm. The year before that, it was on the tour. Last year, I think a lot of people celebrated, get the Memorial off. Let's get better courses made for the Pro Tour. And I already feel like there's kind of almost a nostalgia towards this course. And it's only 2 years out, but people are like, oh gosh, I really like watching the Memorial. I'm glad it's not on the Pro Tour for X, Y, and Z reason. And I think I probably fall under that category as well. I don't necessarily think it's a right course or the right event for the Pro Tour. The events run phenomenal, but the course probably, due to it being a public establishment and the Fountain Hills, you can't really close them down, and there's a lot of spectators that are just wandering through. We all know the reasons why, but a lot of people enjoy watching this event. It fits really nicely into the schedule right after Vegas, before Waco. It's a great event. And a lot of players really enjoy playing it. And I put it right with Vegas. Like, I have no particular love for the Vegas courses. I don't dislike them, but they're nothing to me. I have no attachment to them. I've never been there. I've never played. I have small attachment to the Memorial courses because I've played them. I understand the difficulty in them. A lot of people only see the top pros go out and throw what they call the Heisler Olympics. And I get it. It's you don't see a ton of forehand shots. You don't see a ton of shot shaping, especially at Fountain, a little more at Vista. You'll see a little bit more at Vista, certainly. But they also don't understand the true difficulty in some of these courses because they've probably never played them. They've only watched the top pros play them. You and I, we've literally played these courses a couple dozen times, and you've walked them more times than I care to remember. So anyway, great course, great event. Over on the women's side, we have Kristen Tatar winning, taking home $2,000. She shot an 8 under par, besting Jen Allen by 3 strokes, and then Owen Scoggins shooting 1 stroke worse than Jen at a 4 down for third place. Fourth place was Henna Blomroos at 2 under par, and then tied for 5th place, we see Emily Beach and Evelina Salonen at 1 over par. So congratulations to all of those women. Kristen Tatar shot a 10-12 She had a rough second round in 964, but I think the wind was up a little bit more for that round.
And her discount was down.
Unfortunately,
throwing 2 or 3 of her
we're not
favorite
talking like
discs.
a disc double check. We're talking discs as in the discs in her bag.
Throwing
she
2 or
lost.
3 of her favorite drivers in the water.
Did she get
on
those back?
hole 2?
Did she get them back? Or are they gone?
They're gone.
Sometimes if they just fall over the edge, you can get them. But if they're more than about 3 feet out, they're gone. Okay. And then third round, she shot 1,005, and in the finals a 951. So a little up and down, but enough to take home the victory. So congratulations to Kristen Tatar on your win. And no surprise, Jen Allen playing well. This is her home courses. They favor. Fountain, I think, truly does favor a long arm in the FPO field, and she played very well in that second round. Owen Scoggins, who just knows these courses inside and out, for third place, not a surprise either. A lot of people, I feel like, when the European women were coming over, kind of just felt like it was going to be a fun Eurofest at all these events, whether they're DGPT or A tiers that they're competing at. And I think we're seeing that either they're not acclimated yet, some of the European women. We've seen Henna, who shot much better this week than she did at Vegas, where she did not make the cut. And Evelina, who's still, I think, kind of struggling with her putt. Yeah. Whether it's, the yips, so to speak, as one might say, or she ebbs and flows with what's going on. We haven't seen a dominance from them like I think a lot of people predicted we would.
Yeah, and right or wrong, a lot of time when, especially over the last 2 years, when Kat or Paige or anyone would go out, have a dominant performance, people felt as if they needed to instantly undermine it and say, yeah, but the Euro women aren't here for her to play against, and she should be winning, and it's almost as if they're downplaying the weekend she had. And I always say you can only beat the people that show up, so it's never been Paige's fault or Kat's fault if some of the other competitors haven't been able to get here for one reason or another. Well, so now they're here, and clearly Kristen played well, and she did last weekend as well at LVC. But they're not just showing up and winning by 10 strokes. And I guess that's going to your point, is a lot of people thought that would happen. That's not to downplay that they're I'm not suggesting they're not playing well, but they're also not showing up and just, handing everybody, taking everybody's lunch money.
Correct. And I'm not going to judge them based on the first 2 courses. As we know, the first 2 courses tend to favor more power throwers, wide open. There's not, again, as we said, there's not a ton of shot shaping, so to speak, not a lot of woods to get in your way. I think the European women tend to, a lot of the courses they play are more wooded over there. And so I will kind of judge their early tour season based on the next maybe 2 or 3 events that we see them play. I don't know how long Evelina and Henna are in the U.S. If it just through Waco, or are they going through like Jonesboro?
They're staying here longer.
Okay.
Kristen's going back. She's going back soon.
She's going back and coming back.
And then come right back for the Champions Cup, or the new PDGA Major. That's not Champions Cup. What is the name of it? Anyway, she said she's going to leave and then be coming back for that. Okay, maybe it is. But
we'll just call it the Smashbox Challenge.
Exactly. So, yeah, and like you said, they're going to go into very different courses. Will we see them excel there? Maybe. Will they continue to play the exact same golf? Maybe. I mean, who knows? You would think that having more, as you say, shot shaping and wooded golf somewhat fits Finland a little bit more than necessarily wide open golf. Will that be the difference? Will they find a different comfort level there? Who knows?
It's really tough to say.
I guess my just big takeaway though is it's tough to win, and you have 4 or 5 women that are rated similarly in that 960, 970 range. And I was just looking, new ratings came out, I believe, just today, and we see Kristen Tatar at 976. That might actually been a rating even.
That was her rating, I believe, before. Her current rating is 977.
She skyrocketed to 977.
That's right.
So, yeah. I'm excited to see what's going to happen. I think we're going to have a good battle every single weekend, and you're not going to have someone run the table of just flat out winning, whether it's from the U.S. or from overseas. I don't see that happening. Having them show up is going to create more parity, but that doesn't mean one of them's just going to all of a sudden start running away with all the events.
I'm with you. I believe you do have a little bit of MP40 coverage.
Oh, I
out.
do. I will get to some MP40 coverage.
So if I'm going to give everybody listening to this about 5 seconds to hit that 30-second skip button, because we have the Pro Masters results here. Ready?
Close your ears if you don't want to hear who
hit that
Pro
30-second
Masters.
skip button, and here we go. KJ Nybo wins this one, shooting 6 strokes better than Steve Brinster, who was in second place. We saw KJ shoot a 10:30, a 10:09, a 10:46, and a 10:60.
Dang.
Congratulations, buddy. Third place was Shasta Chris. Fourth place, Pete Ulibarri. Shout out to the Ulibarri family, who, if you follow Paul or Pete on Facebook or Instagram or anything, we know that Pat, their mom, had an issue with the house. There was a house fire, and they're, there's pictures and stuff like that. But shout out to them, great family out there. So hopefully everything is doing okay. Fifth place, Craig Cutler. Sixth place, Alan Wagner. Seventh, Stevie Rico. So congratulations to the MP40 division, who cashed.
And yes, everyone is okay at the Yuli Pat Perman household and family, and it looks like it were things that were, destroyed and whatnot, but everyone is safe. So the big takeaway there, of course. Yeah, it was just an incredible weekend. I mean, I feel like I could go on for hours. I won't, but I will say it was an absolutely incredible weekend at the Memorial. Not only is it a long-standing event, but I will repeat that everyone that at least I interact with is so gracious and kind and helpful. We have people that are helping with whether it's the lodging or transporting or jumping on to do additional roles or working with us to get things done. It's just so much love and support. I love filming out in Arizona. I love having the crew that we had out there in Arizona this weekend as well. And things went really well. It was a long weekend, and and people don't need to worry about it. But when they send messages, and I've gotten a lot of praise and accolades, which I really pass on to the team.
You had two appreciation threads on Reddit.
Well, they didn't get the right dice then, it sounds like. No, that very kind and gracious, and I just can't say it enough. There's no way, as of right now, 18 videos or so, 9 separate rounds of footage have been posted as of last night, 24 hours ago, and that always is only exclusively because of the workhorses and the guys on the ground that were doing everything there. So big shout out to the whole supporters. Crew. Yeah, and the support that comes in along with the people doing the physical labor and catching the action, including Ryan Pilcher, who's out on the board, and then I see Spicy Boy is out on the board. He was also running around doing an incredible amount of work. So look for more footage to come. Look for a ton of giveaways. I know I promised them all weekend. You're going to see them. All of that is going to be part of the experience that we had. I'm going to then use this to segue right into something that is part of this, which is there was, I know this is shocking, there was a complaint. Somebody said you've spoiled it by putting the winner on the thumbnail of the final round of the final 9, which drives me crazy. And this is my quick soapbox. First of all, you don't know that. You absolutely do not know that for a fact, that the person on the thumbnail. And the reason you don't know that is because if you look at my previous 18 or so events, the winner wasn't on the thumbnail for the final 4 hole or for the final 9. Wasn't the very last thumbnail of the tournament. I intentionally didn't do the winner because people have complained about that in the past of doing just that. So the point is, there's a 1 in 4 chance, if there's one person pictured, there's a 1 in 4 chance that is in fact the winner. And if I continue to say switch it up, you're never genuinely going to know. You can guess, you can assume. But I also feel like, isn't that exactly the opposite or hypocritical almost when I say, okay, well, he never puts the winner on the thumbnail. Isn't that kind of telling you right there
Who didn't
win? Like,
I mean,
I can appreciate the super sleuthing some of the viewers want to do, but just know there's no way to win that. I guess somebody's like, well, you could put a generic photo out there. You could. That really kind of goes against how thumbnails and YouTube likes to prioritize things. So my point is, people, just because someone's on a thumbnail
doesn't mean they win.
Doesn't mean that they win.
Maybe they got an ace.
I was just going to say that. If somebody had, let's say somebody had a killer front nine, like they destroyed the front nine, and I put them on the thumbnail, but you don't know that they're about to kill the front nine, and you're watching it, are you going to come back and say, dude, why'd you spoil it for me? That guy had a killer front nine. I should have known that by looking at the thumbnail. Like, you just don't know. So I understand. But I don't. I'm just going to say it. I'm going to rephrase that. I do not understand that. Somebody's got to go on the thumbnail. It's got to be one of 4 people, and it may or may not be the winner.
Well, now you spoiled it. That it may or may not be the winner.
Or may not be the winner. It's just funny because this was the first time in many events. I was like, it's got to be someone. Let's put Paul on it.
Did you put the winner on the FPL?
I think she was on the front 9, Kristen.
Not the back 9?
But not the back 9.
Paul was... I don't...
That was a great battle, too.
You know what? I don't know. I don't care. I
didn't. If I would have put Paul holding the trophy in the final thumbnail, then you have a valid argument. I will concede that. At that point, you have a valid argument.
What would be really funny is if you did it from last year's trophy, like Paul holding, and then just tell everyone, no, dummy, it was the 2021 trophy.
I was just putting the defending champ on there.
Putting the defending champ.
Anyway,
gosh,
I know. Sometimes you can't win on the internet. This is one of those situations, and that perfectly piggybacks the other conversation and point that does come in, so I want to address it. Guys, I don't hate Paul. I don't have bad vibes, as somebody posted on
Which
there.
Paul?
Macbeth specifically. Some people have said they felt like I don't give him enough love. Just know, a commentator's in a really tough position, especially a solo one. They feel as if I didn't give Paul enough accolades when he threw good shots and did good things, which is also ironic because if I do say things about Paul or any one person doing really good things, they say, oh, you're such a homer, you're such a fanboy, you're so in love with them, you're so infatuated with them.
It's really awkward that you really dislike Paul, but yet Hannah did the commentary for FPO.
Exactly.
I'm just saying, I mean, if you'd think she'd know, but I mean, maybe not.
So that's my point. And I did reply to someone that said, it just seems like you really dislike Paul. And I said, that's crazy. First of all, I like him as a person. I consider him a friend. Of course, I think he's a good disc golfer, a great disc golfer, whatever. But if I say too many positive things, you'll also yell at me for fanboying. So I don't want to say shut up, but just recognize it's sometimes a commentator seemingly can't win. So.
But I heard, I have firsthand knowledge that I made up.
Yes.
That you specifically are keeping Paul Macbeth out of the Hall of Fame.
I am. I ain't voting for that guy. I don't get a vote, but I'm not voting
I know
for
you
him.
don't get a vote. All right, so real quick, there was a little bit of hubbub this past weekend. I believe that the Disc Golf Hall of Fame, I don't exactly know, the rules seem a little bit squishy in that they just did some updating. Originally, earlier in last week, I think they said something about 15 years of disc golf service in order to qualify for the Disc Golf Hall of Fame.
Okay.
That would put Paul in his open field, I guess. 2007 or 2008, he turned open. I think he played his first events in 2007. This would be his 15th year. Whether or not he makes it on the ballot. Now the Disc Golf Hall of Fame has an amendment, we'll say, to their qualifications, that someone that has to be 45 years or older, fine, whatever. But Paul did make a Instagram post saying, jokingly saying like second ballot Hall of Fame. From my perspective, and I wasn't at the memorial. You were around Hannah, maybe around Paul a little bit as well.
Who I dislike.
Yeah.
Let's put that out there. When I'm forced to be around them.
Yes, they
Both.
force themselves upon you is what I heard. On one hand, I think that Paul is a no-brain Hall of Famer.
Yeah, I don't think there's even a question of that.
I think almost any multi-world champion is a first ballot Hall of Famer. You know, you could make the argument about a one-time, like, does James Conrad get in? Does Eric McCabe get in? Just based on their play, you know, whatever. You could make that argument. Dave Felbergs, Avery Jenkins, we have a few of them. Greg Barsby, whatever. Paul is a multi-time world champion. The Paul Macbeth Foundation, his courses, just a lot of things that Paul has done, just the contracts that he has pushed out. And there's a ton of reasons why Paul Macbeth is going to be in the Hall of Fame. Does he get in right now?
Does it matter?
No, ultimately, no, it doesn't matter. Everyone knows he's going in. Everybody knows he's going in. You want to make an argument about, you know, first ballot, second ballot. When is he eligible? I personally feel that it's too early for a couple of reasons. One, we don't want to make a plaque to just have to replace it when he wins 2 more world champions. So someone has to go and cross off 5 and put 7 or 10 or whatever number he's going to get to. And it's going to cost the Hall of Fame extra cash. We can't be having that. Yep. And then what picture do you put on the Hall of Fame? The one he's now? Or you have to change that when he gets older? I don't think so, Paul. So, I don't know. I can understand Paul's, what seemed to be being perturbed at the fact that...
Disappointed? Frustrated?
Frustrated. Because he knows he's in the Hall of Fame. He knows it.
Yeah.
Deep down, he knows it. And maybe there's an issue with it being first. It's really funny because there are other sports, if you talk about the NFL Hall of Fame, where being a first ballot Hall of Famer kind of has a little bit more stature. Even though Hall of Famers in the long run are Hall of Famers, I've never felt that way about disc golf. Like that you're a first ballot Hall of Famer versus a second ballot versus a third ballot. Like it just doesn't feel like that is a real tangible item with the way our Hall of Fame works. Which, by the way, for those of you that don't know, go to pdga.com/Hall of Fame or something. I don't know the thing. But just so you know, the Hall of Fame is not directly associated with the PDGA. It's a separate entity done with separate things. So this isn't a PDGA thing at all. So for those of you that don't know, go look it up. It is on the PDGA page, but they are not directly associated. It's /DGHOF.
Yeah, and I'll go ahead and read it. It talks a little bit about the history there, but then it says the Disc Golf Hall of Fame is an independent organization dedicated to the promotion of disc golf, its premier pioneers and players. It was founded in 1993 by Levon Wolf, PDGA number 580 of Huntsville, Alabama. Levon also created what's known as the Ed Hedrick Memorial Museum, collection of memorabilia that describe the history of our sport, now housed at the International Disc Golf Center down in Appling, Georgia. And the first round of inductees were nominated in 1993, and it goes on from there. So that's all on the PDGA, and then they also have their own website, which is just called the discgolfhalloffame.org. And so you can read more up on it and some of the details out there. So that is...
Yeah, there's a new... The lines here say the candidates must be at least 45 years old as of January 1st of the year of election. So that right there disqualifies Paul, as well as you and me, thankfully.
Steve Rico.
And Steve Rico. 15 years of active disc golf participation. The whole 45 years thing, I think that's new as of the year.
That's the crux of, that's a large part of this conversation, is the fact that the 45 years of age was not seemingly ever into consideration or a conversation piece. I'd go as far as saying I think that was literally put on the website in a matter of the last few days.
And do you think that is directly in response?
That is definitely in direct response to this conversation that's come about from Paul. And obviously that makes him ineligible for another, 10 or 12 years or whatever it is. I think he's 31. I'm going to say he's 31 or 32. So that's going to make him ineligible. It's funny to me because my only question is, and not that I really care or need to worry about it, but 45, as opposed to 40, as opposed to 35, as opposed to 50 or 55. I just wonder where the number 45 came from. Obviously I could reach out to a representative of the Hall of Fame and see how that. It's just a unique number to me. Like, I think a 40, again, maybe even somewhat arbitrary. At least 40 is like a master's age player, but. And I mean, they'd have to have gotten involved at the age of 25 to have 15 years in, but just 45. I don't know why. I just find it as an incredibly arbitrary number. And maybe it's not at all. Maybe they have absolutely perfect logic to it that they haven't shared on their site. I want to know where that specific number comes about.
Which is funny because I think, and maybe I'd have to go back, Des Redding was elected 3 years ago.
Sounds, well, I could quickly look for you. That sounds about right.
I can't remember if it was 2 or 3. I think it was 3 because I think 2 years ago Jay was elected.
Correct.
Was she 45 when she
No.
No, she wasn't. She was just into her 40s, early 40s. So this is obviously a new thing. And ultimately, I mean, fine. If we say this about Paul quite a bit. If that's what Paul needs to fuel his fire, just throw the coal in, man. Because
ouch. Yeah, just think about it this way. Val inducted in 2020.
Well, Val's like 52, right?
Yeah. Her husband, Nate, will not be eligible for another 5 to 7 years himself as a 3-time world champ.
And that's really funny because I had this conversation with somebody.
Des was 2017. Oh, man, time's flying. We're getting old.
Jesus. We're almost eligible. There are probably 3 people right now that I can think, based on their playing, maybe not. Yeah, based on their playing, that probably deserve to be in the Hall of Fame that aren't in yet.
All right. Who's got a foot for your mouth? Go.
Nate Doss.
Okay.
Scott Stokely. And you could probably argue Steve Rico. Now,
Okay.
I think Steve gets in based on probably some other longevity, legacy, literally his legacy and the thing. Just, you know, God, I am going to stick my foot in my mouth, but like, Stevie's been around a long time and done a lot of things. Won the very first national tour event, you know. So I could see someone arguing about his qualifications, but I think he's a Hall of Famer. I was trying to think who else, based just on their play, because it's hard to judge right now. The Hall of Fame has been very dedicated to your disc golf service, what you have done for the sport to help grow the sport, to help, you know, promote the sport, and really a lot of early founders. And that makes a lot of sense in our early years. Who else, based just on play, do you feel should probably be in there? Because honestly, you could make the argument that Stokely maybe doesn't deserve to be in there based on play. He held the disc golf distance record, but that's not really play.
And then rebroke it to hold it again. Yeah.
He traveled all over the country. One of the first touring players, has taught hundreds, thousands of players. But if you look just at his play, he never won a world championship. He took second a few times.
Well, let me, as you guys are thinking at home, and as Johnny's just kind of posed the question, I'll just read. It goes on to say that the Hall of Fame, this is from the site, continues to elect outstanding contributors and competitors annually. Each year's class of inductees are nominated and elected by the members of the Hall of Fame. Criteria for consideration as of January 2022. So maybe this was here. Yeah. Or maybe they had decided upon it.
And they didn't update the website.
And they hadn't updated the website. That's absolutely a possibility. But here's what it says just on the site. Candidates must be of at least 45 years of age, as we said, 15 years of active disc golf participation. Candidates may be competitors, professional and or amateurs who have produced a substantial body of high-level competitive success, or contributors, those who have impacted the game significantly in areas outside of the competitive arena, such as administration, course design, innovation, instruction, promotion, etc., or both. Also, they exhibit integrity, character, and sportsmanship with dignity and wisdom to foster the greatness of the game. And lastly, a favorable standing and honorable reputation within the disc golf community that warrant consideration to the highest honor in disc golf. And that's in italics. The highest honor in disc golf.
And I thought of somebody else. I think Schwebe.
Okay.
Schwebe has racked up a lot of wins.
Is he on the board? Did he mention?
He did not. I saw someone thank him on his 325th win. So,
okay. Just those.
So I will throw Schwebe in there. But can you think of anybody?
I mean,
based strictly on
first of all, I put zero thought into this. So,
I know that's why I've literally thrown this at you right now.
I mean,
I want you to stick.
Schwebe clearly a good candidate, and then I think about just last year inducted into I think multiple Hall of Fames, including maybe New York, was one Steve Brinster. A gentleman who's amassed over 100 wins. He's very active in course design.
Yeah.
He's a major winner. Immediately, someone like he comes to mind. I mean, to really have a good idea, I think I'd have to look also at potentially the various state Hall of Fames, because you and I both know there are hundreds of contributors and behind the scenes workhorses, tournament directors, club presidents, people that have been truly, truly growing the sport that may not be recognized at all at a national level. So a national event maybe never came to their town. However, they're the godfather of blank city, state, area, whatever. There's countless ones of those. I'm just countless, and they're all over the place. So yeah, I mean, in terms of players, I guess I've never really put too much thought into it. Yeah, I'd have to even look at a list of people, because it's funny. There's almost even a blended line or a blurred line of the people that are already in it. There's some people that I may even suggest that actually might be, and I've forgotten they went in 5 years ago, or whatever the case might be. I mean, Elaine King went into the Hall of Fame forever ago. Juliana Korver went into it forever ago. Barry and Kenny have been in it forever. Yeah, I guess I'd have to actually sit and take inventory of who's in it and who's not right now.
I feel, and maybe I'm wrong in this, but in our sport, we tend to hold the world championships to a higher level than even other majors. I was thinking about this, that I think if you're a multi-time world champion, that almost hands you the key to the Hall of Fame.
Am or pro?
No. Pro.
So Pete May, who's got 4 or 5 AM world titles, you wouldn't necessarily qualify that?
I wouldn't necessarily qualify that. I think, that's there are, Pete May can probably stack his resume with other achievements as well.
Okay.
But in general, I wouldn't necessarily, so to speak, hand them the keys to the Hall of Fame. But I don't necessarily think that if you just win multiple majors, you're in. Someone who has won 2 majors, let's say a European Open and a Japan Open.
Okay.
I don't necessarily think that they're a first, we'll say first ballot Hall of Famer. I don't think you hand them the keys. I kind of feel like that's got to be like a 4 or 5. Like if you've won 4 or 5 majors, that right there I think qualifies you to the Hall of Fame. But not necessarily. Again, we hold so much more weight, whether for right or wrong, on the World Championships.
Yeah.
And that's just the way our sport is. That I feel like if you're a multi-time world champ, then you get it. I mean, do we have any? We don't.
What?
2-time world champions. Just 2. Cat's a 2-time world champion.
Yeah, current.
Okay. Current.
Barry Schultz.
Oh, you're right. Barry is a 2-time world champion. Yeah. Because I was thinking Doss with 3, Val with 4. I couldn't think of 2-time world champions other than Cat, but I forgot about Barry. Yeah, and Barry's already in the Hall of Fame. I think Cat's now a no-brainer Hall of Famer.
Ricky Wysocki.
Yeah, Ricky will be a. Thank you. You're right. I honestly blanked out.
I'm
about
just
Ricky.
a few of these people.
Yeah, you're not. It's not fair because you're looking at the list.
I am looking, but that's not what I was looking for. But yeah, they jump
you're
on page.
looking at the list. So, yeah. Ricky, I think Ricky's probably a no-brainer Hall of Famer.
I mean, clearly you start looking also at the people that maybe aren't in the news every week, but not like a Schwebe, but kind of, or a Steve Brinster, that have amassed, like I said, over 100 wins. I mean, whether you consider that a significant number, an arbitrary number or not, but 100 wins, that's at least a starting point. Steve Rico has 100 wins. Paul Ulibarri has 100 wins. His 100 wins don't necessarily carry the weight that Ricky Wysocki's 100 wins do. I think for our modern
he
still has put
player,
together 100 wins.
I think for our modern, I'll say this, for our modern, it's really funny because I feel I almost just contradicted myself. For our modern player, 100 wins, I think you need to look at the quality of the win.
Sure.
But that's more for our modern play, because I feel like 5 or 7 years ago, if you had 100 wins, it was kind of like, well, yeah, you're clearly a great player. But that's different now. So if you, I don't know, name Andrew Fish.
Okay.
If Andrew Fish racked up 100 local wins, B tier, or Chris Dickerson's a great example.
Yeah, no, because he's also got a lot of his wins are also. He's also has significant wins.
He has
too.
significant wins, but a lot of his wins are regional
Sure.
wins. B tiers, C tiers, a couple A tiers, obviously a few pro tour championships. Does he have a pro tour regular win?
Didn't he win this year at GMC?
Did he
last year?
Yeah, he won last year at GMC.
I don't know, I'm making stuff up.
Anyway, it's really funny how you have to look at now and qualify everybody's wins, the number of wins. What does that, what weight is that for each player?
Yeah, and someone on the board says, what about Conrad? I mean,
I don't think so.
He's got a USDGC, so the major win there, and then he's got the World's victory. Let's just, for the sake of argument, say he doesn't collect another major or Worlds. And he ends his career in 10 years. He ends his open career. He ends it with, I'm just going to throw out a number and say 34 wins. But those are his 2 largest, and they're unmatched.
That's tough. I think that's like that's a border. I think he gets in, but it's closer. I think he gets in, but it's closer. He's got USDGC and Worlds, and how I said we hold Worlds above everything else. Right below that's USDGC, even better more so than the other majors, because it's got its history and whatnot. I think if Conrad retired right now with no more wins and his, how many career wins? 31?
He is currently 31.
I think,
and what did I say? If he finished with 40 or whatever,
40.
Let's say he finishes with 40 wins,
I think
and none of them are as larger than the Worlds in USDGC. He gets no more.
If it were me weighing the scales, just solely me, he would probably get in. Just barely, honestly. And I know that sounds mean. It sounds cruel. It maybe is made up. He's got 2 of our biggest wins in our sport.
Yeah, he has. You just said the 2 biggest.
I think that he can probably float in with that.
Well, thankfully, none of this is really of our concern.
None of it's our decision.
But it will be as the game gets more competitive. We're looking at the history and what it used to take, what it will take. I'll be excited to see how it continues to shake out. Somebody said a Will Schustrick, who put together 3 USDGCs. I mean,
I think Will,
and then he's gone on to do things off the course. So
I think Will can.
How do those get evened out?
Yeah, I think Will can pad his resume with the other things and get in. 3 USDGCs. That's pretty solid. I mean, I think that's
all right.
Well, no, honestly, I would weigh, like, if you put them on a scale, 3 USDGCs is probably about the equivalent of a Worlds in a USDGC. Like, if you're putting them on a scale, that's got to be pretty close. And if I'm saying Conrad is in, I kind of have to feel like Will Schustrick is in as well. And, well, here's what I'll say about Conrad. He hit the shot. Not unfortunately, for better or worse, that's probably the biggest thing in maybe that we've ever seen in disc golf. So he's going to get in with that in his back pocket. So you get that. Will Schustrick does not have the shot, so to speak. He has he's got a pretty decent career, and building, working with Prodigy and even though I know it doesn't do a lot right now, DGI. There are other things that Will Schustrick has done that I think he gets in as well. So,
which is interesting to me because, I'm ready to move on after this, is building, we'll say, companies, successful companies. Mm-hmm. Is that, how much is that factored in? If you build the greatest, I'm just going to use an example, you build the greatest disc golf bag company that goes on to be just that, somehow the greatest disc golf bag company, in addition to being a decent player or a great player, is that building a successful company that you're then potentially or should be profiting from? Should that be factored in?
It's tough because, I mean, look at it.
But yet, of course, our founders of Innova are all in the Hall of Fame, as they were some of the earliest pioneers and innovators, along with Jim Kenner at Discraft. So
Dave McCormick.
So I know I'm flying in. I'm not flying in the face. I know those are potentially a contradiction to what I'm saying, and I fully 100% believe that they should be. I guess I'm thinking about the future, and if you take I'll say a less significant company.
Now I don't want to throw a name out there because I was just.
I'm not going to throw it. That's why I say
I was going to say like no. I was going to say like whoever the founder of MVP is.
Okay.
You know, because we're talking about the MVP Open today. A company that came by much later was not instrumental in developing the sport. Has created, just great discs, blah, blah, blah. We'll pat him on the back. But in 20 years, does the owner, the founder of MVP Sports get in the Hall of Fame just because they created a disc manufacturer? That's
kind of what I wonder as well. And then where do we draw that line out? If you go on to create the greatest. I'll use Tina Ollie's by name. If she goes on to create the greatest, hand drying solution in whale sacks that's ever come about, this is not a paid advertisement for or against Tina, but if she goes out and creates that, and then she thrives in that for the next 20 years, is creating a company that's involved with disc golf, so to speak, carry you into it. I mean, there's just a lot of ways to look at it. UC Disc Golf Park, and then UC has tournament directing experience and other accolades, but yet creating Discmania. And I think in this day and age, creating a company that happens to be or thrives and becomes successful within disc golf, as much as there should be accolades and a pat on the back and personal satisfaction, I don't think that those accolades, that accomplishment in its own, warrants a Hall of Fame status.
No.
That warrants respect and admiration potentially, but not necessarily Hall of Fame status on that alone. So, okay, I think I'm done judging people for a while. So, which is nowhere where I wanted to go with it. But
I know, but
generically speaking, yes, the conversation of Hall of Fame will continue, I think, to be fluid. The Hall of Fame has clearly put out a statement. It is also, in some ways, I think, frustrated Paul specifically. I think the entire origin of this conversation comes from Paul with a sports background, and just like you said, having that title of a first ballot. And it might not be something that we revere necessarily in disc golf as much as other sports, but I think that does personally put a little tiny chip on Paul's shoulder because he's such a sports fanatic and he realizes the significance in other sports of being a first ballot Hall of Famer. And now he can't be. So there you go, Paul. There's something you can't get first in.
He technically still can, because if they change the rules this year if they changed them in January, he was not eligible for the Hall of Fame going into this year. So he can still be a first ballot Hall of Famer when he turns 45.
Possibly, depending on
unless they change the rules again.
Yeah, they're
Sorry, Paul. When you hit 45, they're going to push it to 60. Get bent.
Ouch.
They're gonna keep you out, buddy.
Yeah. So okay, that is enough on that.
Let's get into our after show. Let's wrap this up. No, okay. I know. It's going to be a short after show. We're going to do 2 giveaways and probably wrap it up pretty quick.
All right. I've got to volunteer at my kid's function in a couple hours. We'd like to thank Steve Dodge for joining us and giving us some insight, not only of the MVP Open, but what's taking place at Maple Hill. Clearly an iconic and legendary facility within the sport of disc golf. If you haven't been there, it needs to be on your bucket list to go check out. So we wish him the best, along with his wife and his brother and everyone else over there at the Dodge family and beyond. Thank you once again to everyone at the memorial, including my massive crew. It was a heck of a learning week for all of us. We had a lot of highs, a couple lows. We had a lot of highs, and I appreciate the disc golf community for the love and the support that we received, as that certainly helped kept us pushing forward in some of the most kind and gentle and polite and caring things that were sent our way. So we really do appreciate it. For Johnny V and myself, Terry Miller, the Disc Golf Guy, this has been podcast 393. We're going to take a very short break, and we'll chat about some other random stuff in the after show. We'll see you then when you step inside the Smashbox.
Thank you to our $2 and above patrons. Your name is listed below in the credits. If you are interested in being listed as a producer in the Smashbox TV credits and supporting this and other fine podcasts, please visit patreon.com/SmashboxTV.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Smashbox TV's podcast 393's After Show.
You did it way better than Tyler Brickley.
Well, that's a first.
Yeah, I mean, ugh.
Tyler was here last week, I heard.
He was. We had a really good kind of flashback.
Good, you can have him. I'm out.
No, although there was a funny comment on our video from last week in YouTube, someone saying, "Ugh, can you please just get Terry back? I couldn't take an hour of this."
Said no one ever.
No,
wow, this guy.
And so Tyler responds like, "Ouch, that's really harsh for Johnny." But yeah, Terry will be back next week.
Well, glad that. Thank you, Tyler, for stepping in. It was, obviously, again, with being at the memorial, it was picking up cameramen, dropping people off, getting things prepped. Overall, it was an incredible week, but coming in remotely was yet another component to it all. And it's been a couple of weeks since I've been here. I don't know if I like it.
In the studio.
Yeah, in studio.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if I liked it better when I was in Vegas.
I have a question about whether or not you like something. Do you like Katrina Allen's new logo?
I do.
So do I.
Someone made the perfect statement and said, did she and her team not get the memo that it doesn't more accentuate her the letters of her name, and because that's where so many of our logos have gone, is essentially being the first, your initials. That's the word I'm trying to spit out. I'm still tired. Your initials, and that was not the main focus at all of her logo.
I love it. I don't necessarily like the little three little dots at the top, but I know she gave a whole explanation as to what they all are and what everything represents. I don't dislike them.
You're more versed on it than I am, because I did not get that far. I'm a little behind on the socials.
Yeah, she in her Instagram, I believe she gave an explanation as to kind of what it all, the rose, and it does kind of like, not gonna lie, it kind of looks like a cat, but it's not meant to be. She doesn't identify with a cat, even though her name is Katrina. It is meant to be a rose. So I like it. I do, because it's big.
You want to? Can you throw it up on screen? Would that be too tough?
Yeah, it probably would be.
I mean, we don't just throw up any logos, but when you got a two-time world champ. I'm looking at it right now, and she says she's thrilled to announce her new brand and logo. And then she talks here with so much personal meaning, and I hope that it empowers and inspires others. It's out here on her Instagram and her Facebook as I'm looking at it.
Yeah.
And you're saying that she breaks it down. Unbreakable, the shield symbolized the logo. The shield symbolized in the logo represents my ability to overcome adversity through perseverance. The constant growth, the rose is a strong flower that represents my constant desire to be the best version of myself, and confidence. All the elements draw my eyes to the three arrows at the top, which reminds me to keep my head up and trust in my abilities. I'm released I am stoked to release a logo with so much personal meaning and hope that it empowers and inspires others. So, yeah, very cool. I like it. And nowhere else does she make any reference to a cat at all?
I think there was a comment or something where she said she doesn't identify with a cat in general. But again, I like the logo partially because it's not just initials crammed together in some semi or clever way. And I feel we have a lot of that right now where it's, it's the one of them that I did see today that I do like, and it is someone's initials, is Mason Ford. Has a really nice, because it almost looks like a set of wings, just the way it is.
I don't think I've seen. Again,
you are behind in the logos.
I know I'm behind in the disc golf logo world.
Yeah,
it just proves how crazy busy things.
Yeah,
because
it kind of just looks like, maybe in my head I'm thinking of the old Innova team flight kind of thing. But
sure.
But it does look kind of nice. I don't know if I know Nick Carl's logo. I'd have to take a look at that.
I think that's also new.
Yes, I thought I'd heard something about that. But in general, it's
where's this?
It's right here.
I was gonna say, where's this logo you speak of?
You can kind of see it right there.
Oh, sure.
It's hard, but it does. You can catch the M and the F in there. I know. And it looks nice. But anyway, talking about cats, I like cats. It's not just initials. It's not anything crazy, but yeah, it's just solid.
Yeah. Okay.
So Mason Ford, you too.
It looks nice. I like it.
Anyway, there's that.
Yes. So we're talking logos tonight. We're talking logos. Charlie on the board says the 3 dots have function not only in the logo but as a design feature as well. Also, Tim Quartz, who I would trust his judgment and insight probably more than most, knowing how skilled and talented he is in the world of design, says Rebecca Cox has a cool one as well.
I don't think I've seen Rebecca Cox's. So.
Well, you're
anyway,
way out and behind.
Talking logos.
Yeah, that's what we do. So I would like to ask if anyone has anything on the board, certainly bring it about, and we could get to it, answer any questions that you might have. Johnny's lining up some details so that we can have our giveaways. If it's not obvious already, with me being gone for the last couple of weeks, I have been personally not home to ship anything out, but once I get all caught up with some emails from Johnny here and with the details, we'll make sure to get any giveaways that are due. We'll get those sent out to you guys. So thank you so much for the support in that regard.
Yeah, last week for our after show, and I think I mentioned this to you, we sat down, Tyler Brickley and I talked all about a little bit advertising, commercials, old disc golf commercials. I downloaded maybe a dozen of them throughout the history of what we've played, some good, some not so good. And we just kind of chuckled and laughed at some of the old ones. And I didn't bring it up with him tonight, even though we had him as a guest. Do you remember the Steve Dodge girlfriend commercial with the Pro Tour cards? It's basically a young woman in her underpants, brushing her teeth in the mirror, and just like, it makes a funny joke about, what he's looking for, and it's, Pro Tour cards or something like that. We did watch that one, and we both kind of laughed at it. We're like, it was a different time. It was a different time.
Yeah, that's for sure. We've all come a long way. All right. Somebody says, Terry, or did you grab a metal warrior, Terry? I did not.
Are you familiar?
And I'm going to go as far as saying I'm not sure I know for sure what that is.
All right.
Again, I'm a little behind.
Do you want all the hot goss?
Sure.
All right.
Please fill me in.
As you know, Innova is re-releasing the Discmania molds.
Okay, yep.
The Discmania MD3 is now called the Innova Mid Disc 3. And I believe the MD3 also had the Iron Samurai logo.
Okay, yep, sure.
Innova came out with a Metal Warrior stamp, which looks like somebody in it's a knight with a sword, basically. It feels to me that Innova's doing a little bit of trolling. And I hold nothing against them for re-releasing the discs. I think it's a good move. People like those discs, those molds, the MD3, the PD1, the FL Flippy 2. I don't know the discs. I'm bad with this stuff. So Innova's basically re-releasing them. Where I think that it doesn't necessarily look great for Innova is the naming structure that they're going with. Calling them so close to what they were before, and even to the point where, like I said, it's really like the Metal Warrior it's almost a direct ripoff of the Iron Samurai. It feels gross. I'm not gonna lie. It's almost like they're doing it on purpose. They have to be. Like, there's no way around it. There's no way that is a coincidence. And for someone who for the longest time always was held up as like a innovator in our sport, and they still are, Innova, it feels gross, honestly. And I don't know how else to put it. Again, like I said, I don't hold anything against them re-releasing these molds. People like them. And if Innova can grab market share with them, if they're different than the new molds that UC is working with Latitude on, and the molding machine they have, they won't be the same, blah, blah, blah. I have no problem with them doing that. It's that extra step that it kind of feels like they're going above and beyond to like rub Discmania and Discmania's fans' noses in it. So, and maybe I'm wrong, but I don't.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I haven't had any conversations with anyone's naming conventions to know for sure. Maybe they've had names for a long time, and then just now are getting to utilizing them, and they've been in their back pocket for a while. I don't know one way or another. And as crazy as this is about to sound, I surprisingly have not been keeping up on a lot of the latest disc golf names, discs, releases, things of that nature. It's usually something that I feel like I'm in tune with. I'm usually purchasing as a wholesale for these companies. I'm usually on top of ordering a lot of that stuff, and I've been just flat out not on board. All right, so Metal Warrior. Oh, okay. I see someone's made a
meme of like it's transforming from the Iron Samurai into the Metal Warrior mid disc 3. Again, okay. I don't even mind so much mid disc 3. That's Innova has the 3 moniker. They've had it at the end.
Yeah, they've gone for a long time
in the past,
related to stabilities and such. The TL3, the whatever. That's certainly nothing new that they've been doing for a long time. But well, I guess we'll see, and we'll see how people react, or if people embrace that and like where it goes, or if it somehow creates any animosity or does the reverse and actually turns people away.
I don't know. I mean, I think if people, again, if people like the discs, please by all means go buy those discs.
Yeah,
if you
exactly.
loved them before, you'll probably still love them because they're going to be the same discs that they were for Discmania.
Yeah. I'm trying to think if there's been anything else going on. Obviously, everybody is prepping for Waco. Waco has a lot of different storylines. You talk about the Beast and the difficulty that's found on that course. You talk about how there's 9 holes. I'm not going to say are wide open, but relative to the other 9 holes, there are 9 holes that are incredibly wooded and very tight lines, very challenging in that regard. And then you go to 9 holes that are sparsely wooded. When I think of holes 2, 3, and then when you make your way back out at the end, the last 1 or 2 holes, I guess you'd consider really open. But yeah, just 2 very different styles within the course, and I love, because of the way that it gets reconfigured for the tournament. I think we start on what's normally a hole. If you went out to the course, I think we're starting on what would be normal course hole 5 or 7 or something like that, but we're using it as 1. So you play 2 or 3 holes that are sparsely wooded, then you play 9 holes that are densely wooded, and then you play the other 5 or 6 holes that are back. So it's not like front is open, back is closed, so to speak. They're mixed up, is what I'm really trying to say in all those words. The course is a little bit diversified and mixed up, and it just doesn't finish in one style or another, in a huge chunk. So that's part of it. Of course, things like Paul's 18 under a number of years ago is part of that conversation as one of the storylines. We've seen great battles unfold on the FPO side with the likes of Sarah Holcomb and Paige Pierce, and relentless pursuit of Paige Pierce.
Nico throw-in.
Not only his throw-in, but his victory last year that stood out, along with Kona's victory that stood out and was really both highlights for both of them for their year, but they didn't have the other highlights to continue on with and carry after that, although they had these standout performances. I also think of Nico many years ago when he had showed up a couple of holes late to his round, and that's when the Nico arrows were invented on UDisc, which the little arrows along the side of somebody next to their score or their position tells you where they have gone relative to where they started. So if somebody started in 34th and they're up into 10th, it'll show a little 24 next to it, meaning they've moved up 24 spots. So that all came as a result of this event, coincidentally, unfortunately for Nico. You think about a few years ago, also another odd storyline was that Simon Lizotte got caught in a traffic jam because there was a car accident, a bad one, and Simon Lizotte wasn't able to get to his tee time in time, and he ultimately withdrew from the tournament. And just some of these oddities, and then really, if you maybe the most serious one of them all was 2 years ago, almost to the day,
the very last event,
the very last Pro Tour event before the very start of the COVID break, so to speak. I mean, we were sitting there. I remember sitting in the pre-production area with our cameraman, a few of our cameramen and editors, and Mo said, "Oh my gosh, so-and-so from such and such NBA team just got COVID." And then I think it was literally minutes later, somebody said, "Tom Hanks and his wife have COVID." And we were and this was Wednesday night. Was the tournament was originally Thursday and Friday, Saturday. It was originally Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Cut down to 2
so
rounds.
I think it was a Wednesday night, and that's when they said, so-and-so just got COVID. And we're like, okay, what does that mean? We still didn't know what that meant. And then obviously Friday happened, and then there was a conversation about Saturday even happening, and then it was announced early. We had spectators that had to stay outside of the gated area, and we weren't. The Pro Tour wasn't allowing spectators in. They looked like, dare I say, caged animals that were on the outside looking in, and it was just a different world. And I remember how upset they were.
A lot of unknowns back then.
And yeah, so that was that. And the Europeans had to figure out what they were going to do. Knut out of Norway was like, "I'm supposed to be here for, X amount more weeks. What do I do?" So yeah, it does bring back a lot of those memories from, like I said, almost 2 years ago, exactly to the day. So
we're gonna see if we get a full tournament in this year.
Have we heard anything about weather? Because that feels like it's always can be a factor as well.
I heard the weather was not supposed to be enjoyable.
Okay, well, I'm glad I'm in Bend.
Yeah, I was just going to say, before we get to our Patreon giveaway, we'll quickly talk about the production plan. Terry, you're going to be in Bend with Nate and Val, and Nate maybe Sexton, I believe.
I think Sexton's going to be in the booth with us.
I believe I heard Brian Earhart on the ground.
That sounds about
doing
right.
Our sideline commentary. And our normal crew, I'll be doing cutting MPO and FPO, switching, and then it'll be the normal crew, graphics, Gary and replay, Mo doing production, Tosi, probably trying to work with get him up to speed with audio and things like that. So
yeesh, I'm going to quickly tell you, I'm looking at the weather forecast. Friday shows currently 45 degrees as the high.
Woo, in Texas.
Wow. Showers and wind, 49% chance for that. 23 mile per hour winds.
Yeah.
Saturday, high of 54, and Sunday, high of 64. It doesn't show, it shows 8 miles an hour on Saturday for winds, 18 on Sunday. So 45, 55, and 65 are your highs. It's just a question of how windy will it be and will we see rain on Friday or not. So That's what you're going to see in Waco. And just because I'm already on the site, I'm going to see what it's going to be like in Bend, where I'm sitting in a studio.
Okay. Probably chilly.
51, 60, and 57. So I'll take that.
That ain't bad.
It'll be beautiful inside the Bevel Brewery. Let me tell you that. All right, Johnny, let's do some giveaways here. That's what the people want. They wait all this time, 3 hours, 5 minutes, and all they're thinking the whole time is, shut up. Get to random.org and get me into this giveaway.
All right, random.org. We have 182 people eligible for this giveaway, thanks to a couple new patrons. Much appreciated, as always. It's your support that helps us continue to do this week after week. And if you'd like to be eligible for our giveaways, you can go to patreon.com/smashboxtv. I'm actually doing a couple things behind the scenes right now as far as the production, working with some new overlays, and we're going to see if some of that stuff works.
Sweet.
Yeah, so it's good. So, Terry, we have 182 people eligible for our giveaway. What number do we want to do here? Come on, spit it out.
I stayed on the second floor of the hotel in room 234. So 5's the number.
Jeez, 5. All right.
I know. We don't usually go that high.
5. All right.
We have to be different tonight.
There's our second number. There's our third number. Here's our fourth number is 90. Our fifth number is
sorted by
29. I sorted them by first name. So 29.
29. That's going to be early one. That's going to start with a D.
29 starts with a B.
You're a
Brian Millman.
Sounds like a new name. Can't say that I recognize that as a frequent winner. So that's cool.
That is pretty awesome. All right, so now, Terry, we are going to do one more giveaway for this week because that was last week's giveaway.
Oh, yeah.
So
I think I said 2, 3, 4, 5, so let's start with 1.
All right, our very first next number.
Oh, how are you going to sort them?
They're still sorted by first name. 43, I'm not resorting them. 43.
It is not Brian.
But we go down to Christina Linthicum.
Heck yeah, out of Texas.
Which she might be playing this week, actually.
I mean, there's only one way to find out, or two.
Yeah. Recent grandmother. Her and Scotty.
Yep.
So, Christina is a phenomenal person. She did an episode of Smashbox Unsanctioned.
Yes.
With me. So,
okay.
Love me some Christina Linthicum. One of my favorite logos as well. Very, very dark and I don't want to say morbid because it's not, but just a little bit on the darker themes.
Wow, she is signed up and competing this weekend.
Well,
no
congratulations.
surprise.
Instead of sending her a disc, I'm going to let her win this weekend.
There you go.
Way to go, Christina.
And pretty incredible. We have 45 FPO players signed up for this weekend. So very excited to see that. And if your next question is, yeah, but how are they rated? Pierce at 980, Tatar at 977, Evelina at 976, and Kat at 971.
The last thing before we sign off, somebody asked about a couple updates to Skip Ace. As far as a transaction log and a roster page. The roster page should be done in the next day or two. And at that point, then once we get that taken care of, I've got a small little laundry list and the transaction page is part of that. So hopefully we'll get that taken care of. But I wanted to get the roster page out before Waco. So JH, who was asking me about that, it's not far off. So paperwork has been signed. My dev is working on it, but I want to get the roster page out ASAP.
All right. Speaking of out, I think we're out. I'm got some catching up to do and be back on the road in a couple days. Look for some bonus footage from Memorial to eventually release for you guys. I got more coming at you. Enjoy it. Enjoy Waco this weekend. I know I'm going to be doing so from the booth in Bend, and Johnny will be right here in Milwaukee. Of course, we'll see you next Tuesday night. For Johnny V and myself, Terry Miller, the disc golf guy, that might be one of the shorter after shows ever. We're good with it. We'll see you next week when you step inside the Smash Box.